Moon's out.
Moon's out.
Moon's out. Put your butt away, Colin. I can't believe you're mooning me right now.
Dude, sometimes you just got to air that thing out,
Oh, my God.
Air it out, brother.
Welcome to the Good Time Sports Podcast. Welcome to episode 63. It is November 27th. We had some good eats this last week, but we are ready to get back into some Good Times Sports. Colin, I'm excited to be here. I've been gone the last couple of weeks, but
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. We've got some NHL, some F1, college basketball, NBA, college football, NFL, and as always, we'll finish off with this day in sports. Let's get right into it. All right. The NHL. That was so perfect. I'm sorry. I know I ruined it by saying that, but that was just incredible.
Honestly, I said the same thing after my intro last week, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I literally dude, nailed it perfectly.
I'm starting to memorize how long the song is.
Yeah.
And so I know how much time I have.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, me and Brendan literally during each break, we're dancing in between. We're just yeah.
That is so funny. All right, the NHL, things are starting to tighten up just kind of overall around the league. No one's really running off with anything. Vegas has now lost a good amount of games. Before they had only lost 2, I think the last time we talked about it when I was here. Boston looked human as well. The Rangers are off to a very hot start in the Metropolitan, the New York Rangers, that is, not the World Series champion Rangers. But
how are you and Marin? Did you listen to last week's episode?
No.
You and Brendan just made the exact same freaking joke 2 weeks in a row.
Really?
Yes.
That's
how about
funny.
the Rangers?
That's funny. But the New York Rangers, who probably won't ever win anything ever again, just because it's New York. 31 points in the Metro. Boston leading the Atlantic with 31. Colorado leading the Central with 28 after the Stars have a rough game skid here. And then the Vegas Golden Knights leading the Pacific by 1 point with 30.
Yeah, you kind of nailed it there. Boston has come down to earth a little bit. They're no longer separating the way they did last year.
And Vegas.
And Vegas as well. But, I mean, I'm looking at some surprises, and we've got a few, both negatively and positively.
The Canucks.
Yeah, the Canucks are must-see TV.
Yeah, the Canucks are cold.
Yeah.
Their offense is insane.
Yeah, dude, and it's we were talking about last week, they had the royalty in the house, with Harry and Meghan Markle and everything, and it's that's the kind of buzz this team's bringing around. Not to mention Vancouver's a lovely city, I'd assume.
It is. I mean, it's right by Seattle, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, there you go. Of course.
They basically share a city.
They really do.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's just one's Canadian and one's American.
Yeah.
But, I have nothing but respect for the Canucks team. They, like you said, their offense is insane. Their goal differential, I want to say, still the tops in the NHL.
It is top of the NHL by 3.
Yeah, and over the Los Angeles Kings, who me and Brendan were watching the other day, they're also really good.
The Kings are very good. They're back to where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, back to they won a title back in 2014.
Which is also one of the best series I've ever seen in my life.
Right. This might be the best team they've had since then. I don't want to speak too early, and that is very hyperbolic of me saying that, but they look so good.
Something I remember about that 2014 run so vividly is that Western Conference final with the Sharks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And think about how long ago you just said that, the Sharks.
Yeah, with Jumbo and Joe Thornton and Captain America Joe Pavelski still on the same team.
Right. No, yeah, and it's such a shame where the Sharks franchise has fallen since then.
Yeah. But thank you, Sharks, for Joe Pavelski.
Right, rightfully so. On the negative side, right, the Edmonton Oilers and the New Jersey Devils, my 2 picks to go to the Stanley Cup.
The Oilers are bad.
They fired their manager fairly early on in the season. They're just kind of a franchise that, McDavid's came out and said this. They're not where they need to be. They're not showing the effort that they need to, and just because they have this potent offense does not mean that it's going to result in wins. Now, they have kind of improved things over their last, let me count, is that 7 games? Or last 8 games, excuse me. They've won 5 out of their last 8. So they're on kind of a better track at this point. They do face the Golden Knights here tomorrow night, so that one's obviously going to be a big test for the Oilers. Excuse me, but they really kind of dug themselves in a hole to open up the season, and now they're just playing catch-up with the rest of the league.
Yeah. They are.
And then now for the Devils, right? They came
Same
off
thing.
again. I thought they were going to be. I thought they were a team that were just on the cusp of potentially, really breaking through in the Eastern Conference.
Having an incredible year last year.
Right. And then they have really just fallen off. I mean, they were not looking great last week, and now they're even worse. They've lost 6 out of their last 8. So they're even worse off as of recently. And then they've got to go against the Islanders tomorrow night. 2 really, again, franchises you'd expect to be kind of towards the top of their pecking order in their respective divisions. They're really not showing much so far.
Yeah. I don't know, though. The standings just... And you know what? We're going to do this exact same thing when we get over to the NBA.
Yeah.
Because we do this every single year where we're like, these standings look insane.
Yeah.
Because the NBA standings right now also look very not normal. Yeah. So
shout out Orlando.
But shout out Houston. Shout out
right.
Seriously,
right.
OKC. And so it's just like, I don't know. It's early, and we say this every week, but it is like, honestly, like this, we really won't start seeing things get to where they need to be until after All-Star break.
Yeah.
And
no, you're right.
But nonetheless, we're 20 games into the season on average.
Yeah.
That's a fourth of the season.
That's foundation level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm starting to get a little worried about some teams.
They always say, like, for the NBA season, I don't know about hockey, but the NBA season really starts around Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Right, where it really kind of gets into gear and you're really, like, finding out.
And they don't want us to say that, and that's why the in-season tournament exists.
Yeah, exactly why, among many other reasons why it was implemented for playing reasons. But, the NHL, I'm going to use that same rule, okay? I'm going to wait till Christmas. And again, are we going to overreact a little bit? Probably, because that's the nature of podcasts.
Of course, because the Edmonton Oilers are 7-12-1.
Exactly.
They've lost almost double the amount of games that they won. So, of course, we're going to overreact a bit.
Yeah.
Or, honestly, just react, because they know over here. They're bad right now.
Exactly. And, look, I'm at the point now where... Oh, that's me. It's...
Sponsored by Apple.
Yeah, right. No, I
wish.
You imagine the bag we'd be getting about that one. My God.
We'd be getting that Drake bag.
Yeah, no, we'd be getting...
You guys wouldn't be making fun of me for betting anymore.
No, you'd actually be going on the vacations you allegedly go on each week.
Oh, my God.
No, I'm just kidding. Your severance package look nice, though. For
yeah, it would.
No, but honestly, look, we're going to give it time. We're going to let it breathe, like you said. I'm honestly happy where, the Kraken are based on what they started out. I would assume you're pretty happy with the Stars relative to
without a doubt. Yeah.
So let's just breathe. Let's just kind of
deep breaths.
I mean,
I'm not worried about the Stars right now. I think they're doing fine. They've lost a couple bad games in the third period. Like, what the fuck is going on in the third period?
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like the third period's winning us or losing us games at the moment, and by large margins.
Yeah, we're such a flip-floppy team. Like, we just cannot build any consistent momentum to save our lives. Hopefully that changes as we get older and, more experienced and more used to each other. But yeah, we're looking like we're going to be on the outside looking in. But like I said, I kind of expected this going in, to be honest. So,
yeah. Wow. Well, not much else from the hockey realm because they're at the very beginning of their season. But one of our favorite sports has finally ended for the year. And it was kind of fucking boring. So we'll get back over to Abu Dhabi here real quick. What's so funny?
That transition had to be the saddest transition ever to a topic we've ever talked about.
Because there was no excitement.
Here's the thing. You weren't wrong. I'm just saying the fact I'm literally like in your statement is so true that it's sad.
Yeah.
It was so gosh darn boring. We're happy for it to be over.
It's over.
We're a sports podcast and we're like
we knew where this was going 6 races into the season.
6 races. Are you kidding me? From testing, I knew that this was where it was going.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, his 19th, I know, right? 19th race win of the season, completing over 85% win percentage for a season, breaking...
He took home 91% of the possible 100% points that a driver could take.
Yep. Insane. He broke record for the longest win streak in Formula One, most laps led, which is over 1,000, by the way. Mm-hmm. Over 1,000 by the end of it.
Yep.
He was inevitable. He had the most dominant season, arguably, in the history of the sport. And credit to him, because he was one with his car. He never had a slip up. He never had one race where you're like, that was on him. I mean, literally in Singapore, the race that he finished 5th, lowest, was 5th.
Yeah.
It was just simply the fact that, Singapore, the track really just kind of isolated their car. But yeah, it was a dominant performance. Max Verstappen, it's already been, but, third consecutive championship season, second constructors for Red Bull.
Yep.
He finishes P1, followed by Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Sergio Perez, Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda, Lewis Hamilton, and Lance Stroll complete the points finisher positions. And then getting over to the Drivers' Championship, Verstappen obviously won with 575 points.
Crazy.
Compared to Sergio Perez's 285. Then Lewis Hamilton, P3. Fernando Alonso holds off in P4.
Yeah.
That last few laps passing Yuki Tsunoda ended up being the difference. He finishes in P4, followed by Charles Leclerc 5, Lando Norris 6, Carlos Sainz 7, George Russell 8, Oscar Piastri 9, and Lance Stroll again sneaks in at P10. This was a really, really, in terms of the midfield, right? If you literally took Verstappen out of it and just was like, okay, yeah, that's the winner. Let's focus on the rest. It was honestly a really good season in terms of the midfield battle and in terms of like the rest of the front runners mixing in with some of the guys that, previously thought were midfield drivers, aka Aston Martin, McLaren to a certain extent.
I forgot that Nick DeVries was a Formula One driver this season.
AlphaTauri had 4 different drivers for them this year.
Yeah, Yuki, Liam, Nick, and Daniel.
Yeah.
Do you know how sad it is? How many races was Daniel in?
Daniel was in
6, maybe.
It came in because he came in. He got injured in the Dutch Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But he debuted in like 2 races before the break, so he technically was a part of 2 weekends. He wasn't in the Dutch. He came back.
He was out for a couple more races. He didn't come back till Austin.
Yeah, he came back. Yeah, that's right. And then he finished out the season.
4 or 5 races.
Yeah.
So if you're Zhou Guanyu, Kevin Magnussen, or Logan Sargent, brother.
Yeah. Logan Sargent also, it was announced that his seat is not confirmed for the 2024 season. And you got to sit there and think that a certain guy in the Aston Martin driver academy might be getting a seat, a.k.a. Felipe Drugovich.
Yeah. Rough.
I know, because the thing is like, I understand the appeal of having an American in there. And like, don't be wrong, the headline of like an American back in F1 was really exciting when we talked about it. And then you saw him.
Andretti will take him, don't worry.
Yeah. I mean, whenever that eventually comes to fruition, it seems inevitable at this point. I don't want America to be forced into F1. I want them, Americans to earn their spot.
Absolutely.
And I don't think Logan, if you ask me honestly, like here right now, I don't think I could sit here and say he is one of the 20 best drivers in the world, which is ultimately what Formula One should be.
No.
So.
No.
Now, Brendan asked me this. He was actually pretty active in our Formula One talk last week. He asked me this. It's assumed that Red Bull's going to be dominant again next year. Not to this
It's
level.
assumed, yeah.
It's not going to be to the level that they were this past season because that would be insane.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one constructor out of really the 4, right? Because at different points, like there was Aston, there was Ferrari, there was Mercedes, there was McLaren. Out of the 4, which one do you think is most likely to give Max Verstappen and Red Bull the biggest challenge next year?
I know your answer.
Which one did you think? Well, I said it last week. So
I didn't hear it.
What?
McLaren.
Yeah, it was McLaren.
I knew it.
Yeah.
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 I think the safe answer, just because of their history in the sport, how dominant they used to be, and knowing that they're literally just a few specs away from being back to
Ferrari,
who they are.
I mean, you said it right there. You know?
More recently than Ferrari,
so
dominant.
Let me guess yours. A Mercedes.
Well, I'm just saying, I think that's the safe answer.
Okay.
But I could really see it being McLaren.
Okay.
Now, and I've talked about it before on here, something that worries me about McLaren is just how they tend to do this thing where by the end of the season, they're racing hard and they have a good car after upgrades. Mm-hmm. But at the beginning of the year, they tend to struggle.
Yeah. Especially the last couple of years. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they eventually bring upgrades. The car gets better. That can't happen. You can't be playing catch up every single year.
No, if they finish P16 or lower both their cars in Bahrain next year.
Yeah. Then they're doing it again.
Exactly.
Like literally they're doing it again.
Yeah.
Now, they're going into a new season after coming off of having a pretty solid car. with a couple really good drivers, things might be different next year. Because we know towards the end of that second year of Daniel's stint, he wasn't performing at his highest level. So maybe with two drivers who know the car well, who race well in the car, I think that there is a better chance that McLaren does compete. It's not going to be Aston Martin. I think something is going to go wrong this offseason in the development of next year's car. And I think they're not going to have the car that they think they're going to have. They are a step away. Like they're very close. But also I think they're going to overcompensate.
They're a step away from being a step away.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
I like a lot what you said there. I obviously think, here's the thing with McLaren. I think Lando, if you gave him a race-winning car, he would have won races. I think Max said the same thing. It literally, if it wasn't for Max, Lando would have won, one or two fewer races, right? Also, you could have said that about a few drivers, to be fair. But Lando, to me, is at the point where he's ready. I'm not willing to say he's quite on the level of, I think we both agree. Lewis, Max, Fernando are the three at the top of their game, respectfully. And in different kind of phases, they have strengths and weaknesses. But if in general, I think if you gave, with the pressure of everything, those guys are all three champions. And I think they would have all won the championship in Max's dominant fashion, or at least close to it. I don't know if Charles would have, because Charles, to me, kind of has those moments, again, where he kind of he'll qualify and he'll put that thing on the front row, 10 times out of 10. But then during the race, he'll have some kind of blunders where he kind of forces things and he'll kind of not completely do it. Lando, to me, too, Lando will have issues in qualifying that'll set him back, and then he'll have to come back in the race pace. So to me, those are the three best drivers in Formula One.
I do want to talk about this.
Okay.
Obviously, Max Verstappen has won races. Checo's won races. Lewis has won races. Fernando's won races. Charles Leclerc has won races.
Carlos Sainz has won races.
Carlos Sainz has won 2 races.
Yep.
Pierre Gasly has won a race.
Esteban Ocon's won a race.
Esteban Ocon has won a race.
Yeah.
Daniel Ricciardo has won his races. Valtteri Bottas has won races.
Yep.
Nico Hülkenberg has won races.
Hulkenberg is not.
Oh, really?
Hulkenberg's never got on the podium.
Oh,
dude.
no, you're right.
Yeah. George Russell's won races. Did you say that?
Yeah, George Russell's won races.
Yep.
Who else is going to get on this list before Lando?
I don't
that's the thing.
I don't think
Esteban's won in a worse car.
Granted.
Pierre's won in a worse car. I understand that the circumstances are different, but also
he honestly would have.
Lando, you had the exact same car Daniel had when he won in Monza.
But he should have won in Monza.
No, he shouldn't have, because Daniel was slowing down on purpose.
No, he was. Lando was challenging him.
There is a reason Daniel set the fastest lap on the very last lap of the race.
All I'm saying is because he was saving his tires and because he knew Lando wasn't challenging him. Lando was faster on that day. Literally, McLaren had to come over the radio and say, "Hey, let's finish. Let's secure the 1-2 here." That was literally confirmed on the radio. Lando would have won that race had he not followed team orders. And again, respect to Daniel because he won the race. All I'm saying is that Lando's had some unfortunate. Obviously, the same kind of circumstances that helped Pierre and Esteban, it hurt him during the Russian Grand Prix. Obviously, when he was leading and then the rain came down and he would have won that race.
Yeah.
Had, it not rained. So, Oscar very well could win a race before
Technically,
Lando.
he has.
Yeah, well, in a sprint, yes.
But still.
In a sprint, right. But I'm just saying, Lando to me is at a point, getting back to what I was saying, you have those three drivers that are clear and ahead, I think, above the competition. I think Fernando's cemented himself on the level that if he was in that Red Bull car, he would have won the championship going away over Sergio. And Lewis as well. To me, then you kind of look back at it and Lando and Charles, to me, they're in the same tier. They're looking at each other and it's they are kind of that next tier below those three. And then after that, right, you have your George Russell, you have your Carlos Sainz, you have, whoever you want to say. Yeah, Checo, you could say. To me, Oscar Piastri, if he's not in that group, he's leading the group below that.
With Daniel, Pierre, Esteban.
That kind of group, right? If you want
race winners.
Alex Albon, too, that we got to give credit to. Right, that level. And I think Piastri's only going to get better. I don't think he'll be at Lando's level next year, but he's going to be a lot closer.
He's going to get better.
He's going to get a lot closer to Lando next year than he was this past season. And I think Lando being the lead dog and then McLaren again potentially having a car that can be closer to Red Bull, I believe that will kind of propel them to, again, Piastri will have his moments, 100%. I mean, he literally had a sprint race win. But I think Lando will get his first win next year. And I think McLaren's development, they had this 100 race plan that we were all kind of skeptical about because it was like, okay, McLaren. Yeah. But then it came to fruition at the Silverstone Grand Prix. I don't know. I like McLaren as a potential challenger to Max Verstappen next year.
I don't hate it. I just think the safest answer is Mercedes.
Yeah, but Lewis's comments after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix had me skeptical about that because they're saying like
there's also an engine lock. Like you can't upgrade your engine anymore until the new rules in 2026.
Exactly.
So I think that might be a problem.
I think the fact that Mercedes is 2 years away, and I think Ferrari. I would trust believe it or not, I think Ferrari could develop a car quicker in terms of like compete because we've seen them in this era compete closer to Red Bull than we have Mercedes. With all due respect. Yeah. So I like literally Ferrari probably knows. Okay, we took a step backwards in respects this year. Let's see if we can kind of regroup to that. McLaren's taking steps forward. Mercedes, they finally seem like they're kind of turning the corner a little bit, but I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
And then Aston's clear to me. Like they're top of the midfield now, like they're ahead of Alpine, but they need to worry about Alpine not catching them next year.
Yeah. You're way too early constructor championship for next year.
Red Bull.
Yeah.
No,
you're way too early drivers champion for Max Verstappen.
Yeah. No, Max to me, I said this, I don't know when I said it, but I think he's on a Sebastian Vettel trajectory. Like he's gonna get
his 4 straight.
Yeah. I think he does that and then some, personally.
You think maybe 5?
I wouldn't rule out 5 in the cards, which is insane.
I wouldn't either. Yeah.
Insane. But yeah, I think 4 is, again, I think next year will be more competitive, but I still think, if you're asking me honestly, I think Red Bull will be still the favorite car, but I think it's, instead of being like 30 seconds, it's closer to like 10 to 15. Mm-hmm. And I think McLaren will challenge them. I think Mercedes will. I think Ferrari, those 3, but I think McLaren will be the lead out of those 3, personally. What about you? Constructors
going to be Red Bull, and drivers going to be Max.
Okay. But are you willing to say that Mercedes will be the biggest challenger next year, or would you say somewhere else?
I'll take it.
Okay, so
for the sake of being different.
Okay, that's fine. And I respect it too, because obviously Mercedes has had the great history of developing cars and everything. Yeah.
So with that, let's look at next year.
24 races next year.
24 races because China's back.
Woohoo!
And Qatar.
Yep.
No, we had Qatar this year.
We had Qatar, yeah. Well, we'll get it's Imola, the Italian Grand Prix.
Imola will be back, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
So, interesting schedule, and we gripe about this every year for the sake of, efficiency and carbon emissions and stuff like that.
The impact on the Earth, yes.
Which we care about.
We do.
Which cars do take a toll on.
Yes.
So, that being said, we go Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Australia, Japan, China, Miami, back to Italy, Monaco, Canada, then back to Spain, Austria, UK, Hungary, Belgium, Netherlands, Italy, Azerbaijan, Singapore, USA, Mexico, Brazil, Vegas. Fine with me. Also, the Vegas one we notice now is, no, it's the same weekend.
Yeah, Vegas.
Literally the exact same weekend.
Yeah, there you go.
As if they didn't learn it was too cold. Maybe they'll do it earlier.
I agree. I think Vegas, the thing is, Vegas is such a spectacle, they want it towards the end. So I get that part.
It's true. I think just the time itself needs to be earlier.
I think I would like it, so if I'm remembering correctly.
Why is a race starting at 10 p.m.?
Right. Also, because November won't always be as hot as it was this year. I think it would be better.
It wasn't hot. It was just too cold at night in the desert.
No, I'm saying like in general during the day.
Oh, yeah.
I think it would be best if it was in October, personally, like a month earlier.
Yeah. I can see that.
Because November to me, for Vegas especially, it's a weird kind of issue. But
I don't hate
also Miami should be later.
Yeah.
Miami should be later.
Yeah, I think the problem with Miami is like you do start getting it to where it's getting really hot in the summer in Miami.
You could, but like again, if you took Miami and Canada and you back-ended them, right? So where it's like a North American trip where you're hitting the Canadian Grand Prix, Miami, Coda, Las Vegas, Mexico City.
That's what I think would be perfect. The issue there is Austin
Brazil.
and Vegas, right? Imagine those two in May and June.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not possible.
I want North America to be kind of the end, and then if you want Abu Dhabi to be the last race, so be it. I would rather
But
have.
also imagine Canada in November.
No, I would say I would have. Here's the thing: I would go literally from north to south in a America's trip. Right?
Yeah, just the whole Western Hemisphere.
Right. So I would
Agreed.
I'd go Canada, which that would probably be September, October, whatever.
Yeah.
Then I'd go down to Vegas.
Yeah.
Then I'd go down to Coda.
Yeah.
Then I'd go down to Miami, Mexico City, then Brazil.
Yeah.
And then finish off with Abu Dhabi. That would be
Yeah.
like again, because if you want to have Abu Dhabi be the finisher, that's fine. That would be my, 5 or 6 leading up to that one.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. I just think it's just so weird coming to Miami, then going back to Europe, 2 races in Europe, back to North America, then back to Europe again. It makes no sense.
Also, I get also you kind of like having the variety because people that are living in Europe, they complain about having to wake up during the American races and everything, and they're late. So if you had them like all back to back to back to back, they would probably get sick of that.
Yeah.
So I get it from that perspective, but yeah, Formula One, they have to juggle all these different factors. And I'm sure in the contract, right, when they sign these racetracks, on their calendar, they're told like, hey, we want it during this time slot, or we want it, before this race or after this race or whatever. So they're trying to makeshift a lot of things happening all at once, but I don't know. I'm happy that there's 24 races. I think that's about as many as I would like personally. Like, we're getting to the point now where you kind of even alluded to it when we talked about this last year. 24 is a lot of races. It's a lot. And don't get me wrong, I love Formula One, but you get to a point, it's not that you're like saturating it, but you're just kind of like, it's becoming a lot.
It is becoming a lot.
So,
and a lot of triple headers, and it takes a toll on the mechanics.
The sprint weekends and everything too, and how many of those are going to be in the calendar next year, and it's a lot. It is. And I get the drivers also need breaks as well too.
They do. So, all right. Well, Colin, Formula One's over.
I know. Was it 3 months that we have as a break?
Yeah, dude, they have the shortest off season too.
Because the week race 1's in February. Technically, it starts in February. The race will be in March, but the weekend. Yeah, the weekend of February 28th is the first.
That
practice.
is crazy. 29th. Yeah, because it's a leap year.
Yeah.
Wow. Dude, that's so crazy. They have such a short off season.
Yeah. And they do have the summer break. So they have 2 kind of mini, they have the month.
But even then, the summer break's 3 weeks and then another race a week after that. So a month.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
Still.
I know. It's pretty nuts.
Odd.
Yeah.
Odd. But you know what? I guess when you're just driving a car for a living, it's not that hard.
Yeah, not any person that says that, go tell them to watch the highlights of this year's Qatar Grand Prix.
Yeah, where dudes were fainting.
Yeah, and literally passing out in the car.
Yeah, losing 4 pounds from a race, literally from sweat. So, all right, Colin, let's get over to the world of college basketball.
Woohoo.
College basketball, you all know, is my favorite time of the year. I'm pumped because early season tournament season has really just ended. More so, actually, it did just end. We're getting into the heart of some out of conference, more tune-up games. Really not going to see any more big matchups until conference play, and then SEC tournament, Big 12 SEC challenges. Well, no, last year was the last year of the Big 12 SEC challenge.
So there you go.
Very sad.
Also, by the way, before we go any further, I need your Final Four, national champion, and then winner, and all that stuff, because we're going to try to get that out the way. Yes, we've done, I think this is our 3rd episode doing college basketball, so we're a little late in your predictions.
Yeah.
But it's fine. We'll let it live. You're a busy man. All that stuff. So just get into it.
Kansas is out in the Sweet 16.
God, that's so different than what I said, but you're looking better in mine, so that's fair.
I'm going for my final four. I'm gonna have to go Purdue, Marquette, Baylor,
Okay.
and I really there's two teams that I'm torn on. It's Arizona and Houston, but I'm gonna go with Arizona.
That's fair. I had Arizona. I think
Purdue, Arizona, Marquette,
so
and Baylor.
For mine, I had Kansas. I think Arizona was my other one. I had who the heck did I had? I had USC, and then I had who was the fourth? I had a fourth team that didn't make it, and then I had Kansas. USC is my champ. Yep, trust me, dude. USC is they're gonna come alive later in the year. I'm telling you right now. I believe in USC. Okay. They're not ranked right now. I understand.
I respect it.
USC is my kind of dark horse team.
Okay. All right. I respect it. There's always one.
Yep.
There's always one.
But anyway, who is your national champion? Bronny James. Hello. They also got like the number one, number two.
Yeah, because Bronny James is that much of a difference maker.
Hey, listen. They also got the number one, number two prospect.
You're right. You're right.
Incoming freshman.
You're right.
They got some talent.
My national championship is going to be Arizona and Marquette. And I'm going to have the Zona Wildcats winning the NCAA tournament before heading into the best conference in college basketball the very next season. So,
I like it. I really can't. I can't hate on that whatsoever.
Dude, Shaka has got this team going, bro.
Dude, Shaka to me had a raw deal at the University of Texas.
Yeah, he did. And what coach doesn't?
Do
you know how hard it is to win at UT?
It's very hard.
You don't have an AD. You have boosters.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you don't do what the boosters say, you don't get your money.
Exactly. And Shaka to me is one of the 10 best, if not higher, coaches in the country. And look, I understand Texas, has their guy right now. Shaka to me is at the top of his game. And Marquette, a national historic power in Marquette, they're going to be in it late. And I'm so mad that I overlooked them, but I was just like, not sure how I feel about them, and then they just went and smoked Kansas, and
Dude, honestly, though, I could say this year, it could be anybody.
They were within 3 of Purdue.
Yeah. It could, honestly, if I'm looking at the top 10 right now, I could see any team in the current top 10 winning the national championship, and even further than that. A&M has a squad this year. I see A&M potentially winning. Texas has a really good team. North Carolina is still really good. Nova, BYU. I mean, do you know how good the Big 12 is this year, dude?
Insane. Here's the thing. The Big 12, obviously, is really good. I still would pick them as the best conference in college basketball, like I alluded to towards Brendan. The SEC, though, my God, they've got some sleepers.
They do have some teams.
Kentucky, Tennessee. You mentioned Texas A&M.
I can't, man. Until Kentucky shows
Alabama.
me different, I can't.
Here's the thing.
It's hard.
Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Like at Kentucky.
Yeah.
I get you. Trust me with Kentucky, but I'm saying in terms of the depth of their conference.
Yeah, very deep.
Very deep. They're very deep conference.
Dude, it's going to be, dude, oh my God, dude, I love college basketball so much. It's going to be so much fun, but
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not much to say other than, dude, Kansas, we were talking about it before the show started. Kansas doesn't have a true big, and it's hurting them.
So here's the thing. I was a big fan of Dickinson, obviously.
Yeah.
I think he's still one of the best players in the country. I don't know if his game translates to the pro game, but I think for a college scheme, he does very winnable basketball plays.
Yeah.
The thing is with him,
he's got an IQ.
He does. He's an IQ, but
experienced.
He's also a very much under the rim big, which when you're playing in a Big 12 where you have guys that can take it off the dribble, or especially like a Purdue who forget Zach Edey, who's just going to overpower you.
Anybody.
He's not great at defending the drive. And then what you also mentioned that they're not the biggest team outside of Dickinson. You kind of sit there and you're Bill Self and you're like, okay, we have to really work on a perimeter play and not, keep guys in front of us in order to be successful. And then when you go up against Purdue, that again, you can take you off the dribble. They've got multiple guys that they can swing to that can create off the bounce. It's going to cause problems for Kansas. And I really should have looked more into that when I made my national championship pick. But listen, I'm going to rock with it. I think Bill Self, if anybody, can still figure it out.
I don't
know, man.
the Big 12 is going to be really interesting this year too for Kansas because you're not seeing teams twice.
Mm-hmm.
You're not seeing every team twice like you have recently. Back then, even last year, the Big 12 was playing a round robin, home and away.
Mm-hmm.
This year, with the 14 teams,
mm-hmm.
you're playing a couple games home and away, and then you're just playing single games against other teams.
Right.
In those close games that you lose, there's no chance to redeem yourself for a lot of these games.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, that's going to be rough. I mean, you're seeing every team in the Big 12. So that means you are seeing Houston.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing BYU, who's actually good this year. Cincinnati got votes.
Mm-hmm.
TCU has a solid squad. They're always going to be competitive under Jamie Dixon. This is going to be an absolutely insane gauntlet for Kansas. And these are a lot of teams with a lot of talent, a lot of depth. I don't know, man.
I think here's the thing. I like their guards. I really do.
I'm going to say Kansas does not win the Big 12 this year.
That you pick Baylor, so that makes sense to go to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say. Kevin McCullough Jr., senior guard for them. He's going to be their second guy outside of Hunter Dickinson.
I know K-Mac well.
Yeah, here's the thing. He's a baller. I think he is 6'7", can do a lot of things well. He's definitely going to be their guy that kind of sets them into the offense, but also kind of help out in the rebounding. To me, they're almost kind of like a weird hybrid-ish team where they can do a lot of switches, again, on certain ball screens.
Do you remember the Texas Tech National Championship team? This is exactly what they were. Their biggest guy was Lawerence Odiase. They didn't have a true point guard. They had point forwards.
Right.
And they had a bunch of guys that could guard 1 through 5.
Yeah.
And it ended up working really, really well. But that was a weaker Big 12 conference. That was one of the few years that Kansas did not win the Big 12. They were young and
to me,
I don't think the Big 12 is that this year.
No, I know. I don't. And here's the thing. They're going to have to sit there and outside of their big three with Dickinson, McCullough, and Adams, they're going to have to figure out, okay, where are we getting production from? If it's just going to be from catch and shoot, are we going to get any production off our bench? Where that's going to kind of lead them? Because outside of that, they are kind of a interesting unknown in that regard. Like I said, they have veteran leadership at their ball handler position, whether it's the point forward, whether it's the guards. I trust that part of Kansas. Like, they're not going to beat themselves, I don't think. My issue is, like you said, I forgot about the kind of size deficit. And Dickinson, while he is, he's 7'2". Like, it's not like he's a small 7'2". Like, he plays small in that regard. And he got exposed by Edey. He did, plain and simple. Yeah. And that could be a really bad matchup if Purdue faces Kansas down the road.
I think also Dickinson is just way too worried about clout and just likes to run his mouth way too much.
He's got a little bit of a mouth on him.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah, he.
Whereas Edey's the complete opposite.
No, he's quiet and he doesn't say a word.
Also, did you see it was after the Gonzaga game? He came and he was interviewed by whoever it was on ESPN, and he was just he had
probably the great Holly Rowe.
It probably was Rowe. He had 25 and I think like 14 that night. He came out and was just literally ripping himself. Like, I got to play better on this. I got to do this better. Just so humble, so just like down to earth team guy, like great face of the franchise kind of program ball player that Zach Edey is. And I just was like, gosh darn it, dude.
All this for Purdue to lose to a 16 seed again.
I mean, maybe, dude.
I'm kidding. I had
it. That's funny.
But no, point being, college basketball is looking nuts this year. Villanova winning the Battle for Atlantis, just proving that they are still a very competitive team, even without Jay Wright. It took them a year to kind of compete early. Again, I mean, they ended up doing just fine last season. But I love seeing mid-majors, man. Like, I love it. Marquette. I love seeing UConn up there.
Florida Atlantic, dude.
Yeah, FAU. Yeah. Like, they're still competitive after their year last year. Big East is still competitive, too. Creighton, Nova. Mountain West with Colorado State. I mean, that's why I love college basketball, man, because it's so much more balanced conference-wise. There's truly guys who can compete with anybody in every conference. And I think that's why the tournament is just such a great thing, because everyone gets to prove themselves. If you win your conference, you get a chance. And a lot of time, I mean, we've seen it these last couple of years. FDU, Farley Dickinson, San Diego State, even from the Mountain West. St. Peter's, UMBC. I mean, college basketball is different in that way, man. There's only 15 dudes on a team.
James Madison.
So all these
like this year, like shoot.
And they're going to a bowl game.
Yep.
Like, it's crazy.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we got a lot of college basketball left. Ready for the out of conference to get finished up so we can get into conference play towards the new year. Because once we get into conference play, man, woo.
That's when it really is going to start.
Before we get into conference play, we got to do like our conference winners.
Okay. Well, I obviously got Kansas in the Big 12. You got Baylor.
I got Baylor.
Okay. Which next one do you want to go to?
Let's see. Let's do SEC.
SEC. And again, this is kind of cheating, obviously, since we're doing it so late. I personally like. You really try to sold me with A&M, but I'm gonna roll with Tennessee. I think Tennessee wins it this year.
Sounds like you know my answer. I'm going with the Fighting Texas Aggies.
Yeah, I knew. Dude, here's the thing. They lost to Florida Atlantic, which is again is one of those kind of mid majors and everything, and it's early in the season.
Florida Atlantic's good too.
They are.
They're not bad.
By the way, they play Arizona in December.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be watching that game.
Absolutely.
But getting back to it, I really like the Volunteers this year. I do. Here's the thing. They've kind of fallen a little bit. They've lost 2 of their first 6, but I like Tennessee.
All right. Let's go ACC.
Okay. Shocker. This prediction's probably made 1,000 times in our lifetime. I'm going to roll with Duke in the ACC.
I'm going with Duke as well.
Okay. I thought about Miami.
I thought about Miami. I thought about even North Carolina.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. John Shire just has that experience behind Coach K, and he knows how to coach that squad.
Yep.
Like, he's literally just another Coach K, and he's going to be there forever. And Duke is going to remain competitive, and it's going to be one of those blue bloods that just never goes away, no matter what. So, Big Ten school.
Dude,
hold on.
What's the race? You go with Purdue, right?
Purdue.
Yeah.
I forgot Purdue's in the Big Ten.
No, I was.
But then after Purdue, we don't see another Big Ten team until Illinois at 24.
Yeah, I don't love the Illini.
Very weak conference.
Yeah.
So
that also plays in Purdue's favor.
Purdue will win the Big Ten. What are we missing?
Big East.
Big East.
Marquette.
I do like Marquette.
I'm gonna roll with Marquette.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to roll with Marquette too. So, man, is that the Power Six? Did we get them all? Or high major, I guess, in college basketball.
We did Big 12.
Big 12, SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big East,
Pac-12. Yeah.
Oh, rip. The Pac-12.
We killed them before they even.
I know, dude.
Give me Arizona.
Yeah, Zona. Easy.
Yeah.
God, dude. Zona, Kansas. Those games are going to be electric every year, dude. Wow. You know me. I'm just a Big 12 truther in college basketball. I can't stop talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for it, man. So excited for it.
Well,
all
it's
right.
here.
It's here. And, wow. Well, before we really get to the death of the Pac-12, which was the Pac-12 playing its last ever regular season games this last week, we got to hit some NBA, keep it on the hardwood for a little bit, and then we'll get right back into football. All right, the INBA.
Yeah.
Bad joke.
I was just.
This is bad.
I had to let you sit with that one.
Sorry. Yeah. Thanks for letting me.
You're welcome.
I've realized now. I've come to.
Hey, you do the same thing.
Sometimes I just need to shut up, man. Stop.
That's
just
concerning.
Pulled my nose ring.
Oh, that's.
Ouch. Anyways, we're good.
Okay.
All right. So, you know how we were talking about in the NHL how the standings are looking kind of odd, brother. The first place Boston Celtics really don't throw me off here. The second place Orlando Magic does.
Paolo Banchero, my God, a star and might be budding
Stud,
into a superstar.
Bro. Yeah.
God, dude. Both the Wagners, they're balling. Cole Anthony is a guard that finally is working in Orlando.
Yes, dude.
Holy hell. Jalen Suggs.
Which we did not think would happen.
Right. Jalen Suggs, I like him as just a do-it-all kind of hustle guy. Can play a little defense, gets really some scrappy buckets. even Markelle Fultz is averaging double-digit points for them. So I really like this Orlando Magic team. They have been kind of at the bottom of the Eastern Conference now for pretty much most of
a long time.
Since maybe the Dwight Howard years.
Yeah.
Like they had the 1 year where they kind of got into like the 8th seed at one point.
Yeah, but they haven't been competitive in a long time.
Right. Yeah, Orlando arguably is the best story in the NBA going right now.
But we were talking about Utah last year at this time, so
we were talking about Indiana also last year at this time,
which Indiana's in 5th place in the East right now.
Yeah.
So let's go through the Eastern Conference right now. Currently in the playoffs, Boston Celtics, Orlando Magic, Milwaukee Bucks, Philadelphia 76ers, the Indiana Pacers, the Miami Heat, who have kind of resurged up to the 6th seed. And then currently in the play-in, the New York Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Brooklyn Nets.
Brooklyn
Nets. Rounding out of the play-in / playoff spots, the Toronto Raptors, the Charlotte Hornets, the Chicago Bulls, who are getting ready to blow it up, and the Detroit Pistons and the Washington Wizards.
Detroit on a 13-game losing streak.
Awful.
Really
Awful.
Bad. They play the Wizards tonight. So battle of the bottom dwellers in the East.
Man.
Here's what I'll say. But Chicago, I'm just waiting to hear more about where Zach LaVine and where he's going to get traded.
Yeah, because he's not going to be there at the end of this year.
Yeah, and then
he's going somewhere else.
And the effect of all that.
I will give you one Tim Hardaway Jr. for Zach LaVine.
You keep throwing it to Dwight Powell, and maybe they'll think about it.
And the 2032 draft pick.
keep trying. All right.
And a 2034.
Yeah, okay. Here's what I'll say also. Charlotte, I love watching LaMelo Ball play. He is...
Everyone else?
I like Brandon Miller's for a rookie.
Yeah.
He's better than Scoot.
He's fun.
He's doing that part.
Yeah.
But he's, again, Charlotte's young. They're very young. The rest of the East, though. Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell, it's the worst kept secret in the NBA that he wants to be out of Cleveland, and that team chemistry-wise, from the jump, does not work. And the fact that they were as successful...
Hold on, I have to do it for Brendan. Cleveland.
There you go.
All right.
Cleveland.
Oh, you did it better than I did.
You got to put some
Cleveland.
There you go. You're getting there. Here's what I'll say. Donovan Mitchell also could get traded, so be potential on him potentially asking out. The Knicks, you cannot win with Jalen Brunson being your best player in terms of like winning a championship. I thought they'd at least be better in the regular season, but it's very apparent to me that Julius Randle is a shell of his former self.
Yeah. He had like 2 years. Man, you had your chance.
You did.
Blew him. You blew the Julius Randle golden age.
I was never a big fan of RJ Barrett, and it's tough right now. And really, it's not even just Randle.
I haven't been recording this one.
I know, right? No, it's just the Knicks in general. They have a lot of good pieces, but this year it's not flowing as well as it has been in previous years.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to need to make a move. Could it be for a guy like Donovan Mitchell or maybe Mikal Bridges from Brooklyn or who knows? The Knicks just are not going to do well with Jalen Brunson being the lead guy. And then you look at Miami, right? Miami, they're having their kind of midseason turnaround early because remember they started off last season.
And it came much later. So.
Right. We'll see if that kind of turns out well. But yeah, they're looking decent right now. I think they're also kind of developing some of their undrafted / rookies before our very eyes, seeing if Tyler Hero can be that guy for them. But Indiana, you mentioned it. Tyrese Halliburton, my oh my.
Yeah.
How many point guards would you have above Tyrese Halliburton right now?
Right now?
If we're thinking, because, okay, we'll count Luka and Steph.
Yeah.
They're guards.
No,
but I'm saying, don't even think about it, right? I would say De'Aaron Fox would be another one.
I think De'Aaron Fox is probably the best player in the league right now.
That's okay. That's just
best guard in the league right now.
Okay. That again. That's
at
at
this
least
current moment.
That's more to stomach, but I'll allow it. You said best player.
Yeah. Sorry. No, I jumped to conclusions.
No, he's up there for sure. Okay. So outside of those three, right? You have Dame, who's recently kind of rebounded.
Yeah.
So that's 4. I wouldn't think Jamal Murray. Do you count him as a point guard? And even then, like, he's more of like an off combo too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Tyrese Halliburton. Again,
I would put him at 4.
Well, it's 5, I think.
5, yeah. Sorry.
So that's 5. Because Ja, we don't know what Ja's looking like. Right. So Tyrese Halliburton, top 5 point guard, as confirmed.
I mean, he's really good though.
Dude, he's so good. Like every night. Did you watch that game? I forget who it was against, where Indiana scored a stupid amount of points. I'm gonna pull them up real quick. It was against,
then that game they won like 154, 152 or something.
157, 152 is against Trae Young.
Yeah.
My God. Like, Tyrese Halliburton is here. He's arrived.
Yeah.
I don't know how he wasn't a New York Knicks pick, but again, they bottle everything.
Everything.
And yeah, the Indiana is in the best spot basketball-wise since the day of Paul George and Danny Granger. So credit to them.
Nuts.
Philadelphia kind of falling back down to earth a little bit. You know, they weren't going to go undefeated forever without James Harden, although it's a nice range. The thing is, they're a team that's so scary because they're this good with a max spot open. So Philly could be in a really good... The process might come to fruition. Let's put it that way.
It might, yeah, especially at the trade deadline, man. I mean, think about who do you think they could trade for at the trade deadline to fill that max spot?
I mean, so the thing is, they have a nice kind of pairing, right? You have Embiid, the MVP. Embiid,
yeah.
Right? Embiid, the MVP. You have Tyrese Maxey, who's emerged. He's averaging...
Incredible.
I think he's still averaging like roughly around 25 or something like that. And then you have Tobias, who's like that third scorer who just kind of provides everything. So to me, if I'm looking for somebody who kind of balances those three out, I want somebody that defends and shoots at the highest level that I'd be willing to give potentially that high amount of money. Donovan Mitchell would not fit that.
No.
Because he's a chucker and not a defender and undersized.
Zach LaVine?
No, I wouldn't. Zach LaVine would be like pushing at that point. Because again, LaVine's kind of a chucker too. He's just bigger than Donovan Mitchell.
He defends better.
Again, like Drew Holiday would have been nice, but no way Boston's giving him up.
Nope.
I don't know, man. Like it would have to be like, again, a guy with size that could help Maxey out in the backcourt, that could defend and shoot.
I got it. Luka.
What is up with Luka? Just, I don't even know, man. You and Robert, I swear, throw out weird Luka with the best bigs in the game. Like, Robert wants Luka to play so much with not Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic. Yeah.
I do too.
And it's just like, guys.
They would be so unstoppable.
Here's the thing. They both need the ball in their hands.
So?
There's only one ball.
They'd both have the ball in their hands somehow.
And they're both not the greatest defenders. So it's like...
They'd be putting up 180.
And probably giving up 195. Because Jokic is not shot blocking anybody. I don't know. I have a lot of respect for Jokic, but respectfully, him and Luka need to be on separate teams to succeed, in my opinion, to be the best versions of themselves. That's my opinion.
It's our new Bron and Jordan argument.
Okay, sure. If I'm looking at this, like, again, not at a max spot level guy, but I like OG Anunoby.
I do like OG, yeah.
I think that could be a nice fit for Philly.
That's actually a really great fit. Defends well.
Yeah. Gives them
smart with the shot taking.
Yeah, like
high efficiency guard.
And Toronto could be looking to, potentially offload him. Someone I'm trying to think. There's a guy in New Orleans that's he's Herb Jones. He's like a guy, again, not a max guy.
Yeah,
but he's a really good defender.
Is
developing as an offensive player. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, maybe one of the San Antonio guys, like a Keldon John. Like, they just need a guy. To me, they don't need a star. They need a guy that fits.
Yeah, bro. The Wemby hype is like... I mean, he's still really good. Don't get me wrong.
But they're not winning.
No.
They're not. They lost 12 in a row.
It's bad.
Yeah.
They played the Mavericks close game 1, and they're like, whoa.
Yeah, they also beat the Suns. Remember that one
game?
Yeah,
they came back.
Yeah, and now it's like, okay, now we realize how
tough now the Suns are up to 3rd again, and they were like last in the league.
Are we switching over to the West now, you think?
Yeah, I think we need to.
Yeah,
we've talked a lot about the East, but
yeah.
Look, this is where we're starting to get a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
The Minnesota Timberwolves are first place in the West.
Anthony Edwards has finally arrived.
Yeah. The Denver Nuggets are the Oklahoma City Thunder are second in the West.
My surprise team this year.
The Phoenix Suns, 3rd. And finally, we get to the Denver Nuggets at 4, the Dallas Mavericks at 5, the Sacramento Kings still competing at 6, the Lakers at 7, the Rockets at 8, Wow. The New Orleans Pelicans at 9 and the Golden State Warriors at 10. This Golden State team is not meshing like we thought they were.
We thought they were, yep.
Yeah, when we started the season.
Right.
So,
and then you got the Clippers, the Jazz, the Trailblazers, Grizzlies, Spurs to round it up.
Anthony Edwards.
Oh yeah, he's him.
Oh my God.
Here's the thing: when they drafted him, he was always going to be their number one guy. It just was a matter of when he would develop into that guy.
I'd put him above Tyrese.
What?
Tyrese Halliburton.
No, I'm saying they're number one on their team.
No, I meant like
when
because we were ranking guards.
Oh. Well, Edwards is a 2.
Yeah,
he's a 2. He's not a 1. Mike Conley's their 1.
You're right.
He's averaging 26.6 points. All right.
You're right.
Here's the thing.
So guard.
Yeah, whatever.
Dog though.
He is a dog. Here's my thing with Anthony Edwards. Right.
Haven't done it this season. Anthony Edwards, dog.
There we go. It's been a while since we've had that on.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Ant. So he was drafted, right, in that infamous LaMelo Ball, James Wiseman draft, if you remember that. Imagine what Golden State would have had if they had Anthony Edwards.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, right?
They do not have Anthony Edwards.
So here's the thing, right? Ant is a star budding in, kind of similar to Tyrese, where he's a star, kind of like Paolo. They're stars budding into superstars. Anthony Edwards might be the best out of the lot, out of those 3.
Easy.
Right? So he, to me, now is leading a team that's young, relatively, obviously, like Rudy Gobert's been in the league a while, Conley and Karl Anthony Towns, but they got some young pieces in this team, right? They are a team now that they're going to flex in the regular season because they're young, they're willing to get up and down, they compete every night like it's their last night, right? They're going to capitalize, and I don't think they're going anywhere. I said this last week. I think they're a team that's legitimately going to stay in the upper echelon of the Western Conference.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those where this team will go as far as Anthony Edwards will take him because I don't trust Cat to be number 1. He's now number 2, which is where he should be.
Yeah.
Gobert is a defensive guy that finishes at the rim.
Yep.
Conley at this point is a veteran playmaker, and it's all up to Ant. And while that could be kind of dangerous, it also kind of works, right? Because you have a clear hierarchy. And I think Ant now can compete with some of the top guys in the NBA. And it's scary to think about that because he's still so young. But he came into the league with an NBA body.
He did. He really did. And
he's grown into that even more so. 225, 6'4", just a freaking baller, man.
Just a dog. Dog.
And that's the thing. So
we should have seen it when he was at Georgia, man.
We should have. Well, I mean, that's a big reason why he went number 1.
True.
So, also, OKC, right? So they're another young team. They got a dog in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, which he's a guy that I don't think anybody can really argue at this point. He's a top 10 guy.
Yeah.
Averaging 30 a game.
Yeah.
He is now leading a young team as well. Again, with Chet, Jalen Williams, an aforementioned guy we will not name.
It's like
I almost said it. Almost did. Lou Dort. That's who I was going to say. Trey Man. The other Jalen Williams.
Yep.
They got a young group there, point being. And they're going to flex. The regular seasons where young teams go to flex.
Yeah.
You know? Because every night's a night where, like, hey, we're here. Yeah. We're here to win.
Yeah.
Now. And I did pick Oklahoma City to be my biggest kind of improvement team, and they're showing why. I mean, they went down to the wire with the Philadelphia 76ers last night. They are here. Chet Holmgren adds a new dimension to this offense and defense. Shai's obviously going to give you buckets every single night.
Yeah, dude.
And they got role players, man.
This Rookie of the Year race is really going to come down to Chet and Wemby.
Yeah, the two freaks. And I think I went with Chet. You went with Wemby.
Yeah.
And based on just pure opportunities, I feel like Chet's got a really good shot to win it this year, man.
He does. Yeah, because they're winning.
They are.
He's clearly making a difference on that team.
Which Wemby is too, but they've got more to work with in Oklahoma City than San Antonio.
Right.
Then we go to the Phoenix Suns. They, despite all the injuries they've gone through with Book and Beal, they, to me, are a team that, again, when we come down to it, because listen, respect Minnesota, respect Oklahoma City. They'll make noise. I don't expect either one of those teams to be the final two in the West. I expect this team and the other team in fourth, that's the defending NBA champ, to be kind of the final team standing. And to me, man, the biggest story is not any of Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, or Bradley Beal. It's Jusuf Nurkic, man. Jusuf Nurkic has come in and said, all right, I realize where I'm at, right, in my career, right? Like, I had my stuff in Portland. I had my moments being kind of a whatever, pseudo tough guy and everything. Let me show you what I can do in Phoenix. 10 points, 9 rebounds.
Crazy.
Leading the team in
like
steals and blocks.
Someone said this was going to happen.
Hey.
And people looked at me like I was crazy.
Hey, here's what I say. I wasn't like Robert. Robert, I don't know what just happened there with that.
You're fine.
Robert said he was just gone, like he was trash. I said he could be. You were on the very positive. You were on the very positive scale.
Dude, I just knew Yusuf had it in him, bro.
Yeah.
He is a dog in the paint. He's huge, bro. Like no one,
massive.
Like there's few big men who can move like he can at
7
his
foot,
size.
290. Yep.
Yeah, he's 10 pounds away from 300 pounds.
Yep. And he moves the way he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so talented, and he's such an asset to have in the paint, man. And I knew it. I said it, man. It scares me because if you find how to play through Nurkic in the paint, it's scary, dude. Those pick and rolls are disgusting. Like, I knew it.
Excuse me. Not to mention also, you got 4 guys on the team that are averaging at least a block a game.
Yep.
So it's a really group effort on the defensive side. But Nurkic is kind of the lead dog at this point.
Yeah.
I think Phoenix, again, their downfall will be if they do lose to Denver. Their downfall will be, okay, who are we trusting to kind of bring the ball up and be the playmaker? Because it's one of those things that none of these guys, like KD, Book, and Beal, none of them have really ever been the let's get others involved in the offense, right?
Especially Beal and Book, they've always played usually off of someone else.
Exactly, whether it's Chris Paul or whether it's John Wall or whomever, right?
Yeah.
And then KD's perspective, I mean, KD's,
best forward in the league.
Right. Well, Giannis is, I'd say, probably would be
yeah. Second best forward in the league.
There you go.
So,
I like a lot of the role players. Grayson Allen's
best power forward in the league. Small forward. No, power.
No, he's just I guess
It's
he'd
tough.
be a 4 technically because of his size.
Yeah, he's just so tall.
But I'd also consider Giannis a 4, so no.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he was small forward,
How about he's the best finesse forward in the league? How about that?
Yeah.
We'll call
Best pull up shooting forward in the league.
Sure. Okay.
Giannis can't do that.
Well, no, I'm saying, but like I'm not gonna keep arguing you with this. So let's just we know who Kevin Durant is.
He is the best guy named Kevin Durant in the league.
There we go. There we go, brother. So yeah, I like Phoenix. I just, again, to me, they're second only to the Denver Nuggets, who sit there at 4th. I know they've kind of gone on a recent losing streak. Oh my God. Nikola Jokic is still him.
Yeah.
Michael Porter.
Him.
Jamal Murray.
Him.
Aaron Gordon.
Timothy.
Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who subbed in for Bruce Brown. Like, nothing.
Yeah. I think that's just the system that they're in, though, man.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a guy who can give you the same amount of effort in that position, you're fine.
My biggest question mark was their bench. And Reggie Jackson and Christian Braun have come in seamlessly and are willing to give these guys, valuable minutes.
Yeah.
Now, I worry about their backup depth, right, in terms of the big man, because
Right.
DeAndre Jordan's still somehow getting 12 and a half minutes in the NBA. They're going to need to improve that because I think literally, I mean, outside of Porter, Jokic, and Gordon, right, those are your main 3. You'll obviously kind of rotate them and stack them to where at least you hope you have 2 of them on the court.
Yeah.
But they need, like Peyton Watson, DeAndre Jordan, Kike Ninanji. I don't even know how you say that correctly. Justin Hall, like those are your backup bigs.
Yep.
So I would look for Denver to potentially make a, bench move here later in the season.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing.
Moving on to the Mavericks.
Okay.
We'll talk about the Mavericks. So,
and then I'll move on to the Kings. No, I'm just kidding. No, the Mavericks are really good, man.
The Mavs are really good, and I know we've lost a couple games that we shouldn't have. But look, when I look at the teams that we've lost to, right? Mm-hmm. Our worst loss this season, point-wise, blowout-wise, quote-unquote, is to the Pelicans. We lost by 21, who is a very good competitive team and who was balling out with Zion. And then we lost to the Clippers pretty badly. And that one, I don't know what the hell was going on, man. The team literally just did not look awake whatsoever. And then the L to the Raptors was bad. Other than that, we lost to the Nuggets. We lost to the Kings and to the Bucks. Those are 3 L's I will gladly take. And honestly, the Pelicans one I'll take too. But then on top of that, you're beating the second place in the East Magic. You beat the Nets, beat the Spurs, beat the Grizzlies. None of these are impressive. You murder the Clippers. And then the night before, you do beat that same Pelicans team. Beat the Wizards. You beat the Lakers in a thriller. That game was fun to watch.
Thriller.
That was a lot of fun to watch. But, yeah, I think the Mavs are going to be fine.
Here's what I'm looking at. Looking at their upcoming schedule. They have Houston, Memphis, Oklahoma City. That'll be a big game.
That'll be big.
Memphis again. Los Angeles, who's always given the Mavericks low-key kind of really close, tough games. Minnesota.
Ooh, Memphis has it rough right now. Tickets as low as $4.
Yeah, that's tough. So Minnesota, will be another good game. At Portland, at Denver, right? All within a span of, 2-3 weeks. The Mavericks will find out about themselves in that 2-3 week stretch. Now, again, we said it last time, season starts on Christmas. Look at who they're playing on Christmas. It's those Phoenix Suns.
Freaking Suns, baby.
Yeah. So.
God, I hate Phoenix.
Well, you're going to have a chance to.
And Philadelphia. Fuck the city of Philadelphia.
You have to say it like once a podcast, I swear.
Have to. I hate them so much.
No, man. I think
stupid city, stupid people.
The Mavericks were at a point where they were, I think, second in the conference was like the highest they got.
Yeah, we were 6-1 right behind the Nuggets.
Right, and then they've kind of fallen a little bit. So. Yeah, and it's
no one's saying the Nuggets are bad.
No, and here's the thing about the Mavs. Well, they also are the defending champs. I'm sorry. There's a little context.
I get that.
Luka and Kyrie work.
They're figuring it out.
Yes, it took an off season. It took a half a season last year, but they're figuring it out.
Derek Lively, solid.
Lively to me, I was gonna get to that. The key to the Mavericks, right, is how they treat Lively and how available and how effective he's gonna be late in the season. Because we've seen this with rookies, man. I don't care if they come from Europe, G League, or college, right? They're not used to the NBA schedule and how much of a toll it takes on your body, and you start to wear down. Yeah. You're not as effective late. So when you get to March, April, May, how effective is he gonna be? That's gonna be key for them. Grant Williams staying healthy because he is such a key component in this team. Also,
can we talk about Derrick Jones Jr.?
Yeah, I was going to get to him, but yeah, go ahead.
Derrick Jones Jr. has been, I think, my biggest surprise on this team this year so far.
Yeah, he has. Averaging like eight a game, 3 rebounds, assists. To me, he's a very glue guy. He's a guy
that is a very good glue guy.
He's, going to give you a lot of effort, fight for those 50-50 balls. Is not afraid to guard really anyone out on the perimeter. No. So he's going to be a key guy for the Mavericks going down the stretch as well. But he's a guy, I'm just looking up his bio for a second. So he's played obviously with the Mavericks this year. He's, bounced around the league a little bit, started out in Phoenix, went to Miami, Portland, Chicago, and now has found a home in Dallas where, at least right now, I'm thinking this could be a permanent fit for him.
I think so too.
Because he's only 26.
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah. So
he's literally my age.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
You just made me feel so old just then.
Yeah.
I was like, I remember when I was 26.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the only one in our friend group now who isn't 28 besides Connor. So
wow. Crazy.
I know. You're the only one still in their mid-20s. How about that?
Barely.
Because Connor's not even in his mid-20s.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
Crazy. Damn.
Anyways, Derrick Jones, glue guy. He'll need to keep, being effective. To me, I'm looking at Josh Green and Jaden Hardy.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting them to take over the team and average 20 like Maxey or anything like that. And I get it that also a lot of the ball handling goes to Kyrie and Luka.
Yeah.
But I am kind of hoping they provide a little bit more of a spark coming off the bench. Green will give you effort on the defensive end, so
Without
he kind of masks it a little bit. Hardy, to me, I don't know if it was just me being at the games last year. To me, he hasn't really flashed in terms of what he could do coming off the bench.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's, again, the system that they're running or maybe it's just not the opportunities that he's given. But to me, I'm looking at Jaden Hardy as a guy that I kind of want to take more of an initiative coming off the bench and to really try to get into a flow to take the pressure off of Luka and Kyrie whenever he comes into the game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking at overall throughout this season and going back to Lively here real quick. What I do love to see is that Luka's getting help on the rebounding side of the ball, which he has needed desperately.
Yes.
If we go through the games that we've played, here's who's had the highest rebounds. Luka, 13. Luka, 10. Luka, 12. Lively, 13. Luka, 10. Lively, 14. Irving, 6. Luka, 7. Derek Jones Jr., 10. Powell, 10. Lively, 9. Lively, 9. Lively, 10. Luka, 10. Luka, 12. Dante Exum, 8. That's why we lost. But it's being split more evenly. Luka's not carrying the brunt of all of this. Granted, even on the assist side, there's still a lot of Luka, but there's 4 or 5 games where Kyrie has the high in assists. Mm-hmm. So, dude, taking that, Luka still leading the stat, I think, for...
No, he leads points, rebounds, assists, steals.
Still. But nonetheless, he's getting help. And I think that's something that has really benefited him. It's benefited the Mavericks. And I think it's a reason that we're better this year. So
we talked about it all last season that this year would be crucial in keeping Luka in Dallas.
Has to be.
And so far, the Mavericks up to this point have done their part.
Yep.
So I can't even say anything negatively in that regard. Kings still. Here's the thing: for as great as De'Aaron Fox is, he and the Kings are still trying to figure out how to win. I think they're going through those growing pains. They've now got the Minnesota Timberwolves, Oklahoma City Thunder, like those other young teams competing with them.
Yeah.
Along with the veteran teams that they're already competing with. So that's going to be interesting. Yeah. Lakers, to me, this is about what I expect them to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I think by the time the season's over, the Lakers aren't going to make the play-in.
I think they make the play-in.
They might make the 10-9, but
I think they'll make the play-in. They're too good. LeBron and AD will not allow, I think, them to fall out.
They did a couple years ago.
It's true. No, granted with injuries and stuff. But Houston, you kind of also mentioned they're a little bit of a surprise team. Mm-hmm. To me, this is all about getting the veteran leadership in. I mean, when they kind of had those guys, one of which we will not name, leading the team kind of younger, right? They needed some veteran presence.
A lot of guys we won't name, man.
No, the NBA is kind of going through a rough patch in that regard, and they need to get their bleep together. Yeah. Look, Fred VanVleet is a consummate pro. He's obviously been in the NBA for multiple years, been a part of championship cultures. He knows what it takes to win. Ime Udoka, for what you say about him, he's a aspirational coach that knows what needs to be done on the defensive side of the ball, which is what this team very desperately needed. Even Dylan Brooks, for as much as we clown him, he will give effort and he will at least fire up the guys on that side of the ball.
He'll talk his shit.
Yeah, he will. New Orleans Pelicans, they need to blow it up. I'm tired of this. Brandon Ingram,
Zion,
CJ McCollum, they're just not it. No. This is their ceiling, and it sucks, but it's just the reality. Zion, low key, that could be somebody who goes to New York.
Yeah.
Because at least there he'd be, in the spotlight to where he'd really get he's kind of almost like hiding in New Orleans.
Yeah.
It's weird. Golden State, we'll kind of touch on a little bit. The rest of the West is just kind of like...
Draymond needs to figure this shit out. He literally choked out Rudy Gobert, and he doesn't care. Also, that's on the NBA for suspending him for only 5 games. Mm-hmm. That's the dumbest thing ever.
So was that the first or the second of their double back-to-back? I think it was their second, right?
Yeah.
Of the back-to-back that he got suspended. Right. So he recently just finished his suspension. He'll be back for the Kings game tomorrow night. Here's the thing what I'll say about Draymond. He has openly said, and part of the reason I respect Draymond so much is because he's so open and honest about who he is as a player. Yeah. He has said it plenty of times. I am not an 82-game player. I'm a 16-game player, meaning he's built for the playoffs and everything. Yeah. But the problem with Draymond is the fact that you need to give something in the regular season.
You have to.
Klay Thompson at this point is a shell of his former self. And the thing is,
the
Warriors,
rough.
Warriors, I don't know if they have it in them to break up the Splash Bros, but he just is not worth the contract that he's getting paid. Yeah. Chris Paul, again, he's provided moments, but ultimately I think he realizes at this point he is a bench player at best, not even a 6-man, to be honest. And Steph's having to do everything for this team. Yep. And they're in a very similar spot to where they were in last year, to where now I can't even trust the Warriors.
The issue is now Jordan Poole isn't there anymore.
Right.
To step up in some games to kind of win
or to take the blame.
Yeah, or to take the blame.
Right.
And, I mean, Andrew Wiggins is looking to be the second best option.
But Clay's the one chucking shots.
And he is, yeah.
I mean, look, you got Curry who's averaging almost 30. Then it goes down to Clay at 15 on very inefficient numbers. Wiggins at 11.8. Kuminga at 11.6, Saric at 10.8, and then you got Chris Paul at 9,
dude.
Draymond Green at 8. I mean, Curry's just got to get some more help on the offensive end.
He needs to, yeah.
And Clay is supposed to be that guy, and he's just not.
He's not
that guy anymore. And look, Clippers, they are what they are. Similar circumstances. They're finally learning how to win with James Harden, but even then, it's not great.
Nope.
Also, weird stat. I don't know if you saw this. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George have not missed a game this year. Whoa. Amazing when they kind of changed the ruling on the those awards, how healthy those guys can get.
Yeah.
They haven't missed a single game, at least at the time recording this. Yeah. So
crazy, man. They're going to get 42 games in and then miss the rest of the season.
That was according to Doug Central, too. So, but yeah, the rest of it, the NBA, like, Memphis is down in the dumps. They're terrible. San Antonio.
So down bad.
Yeah, San Antonio's
Memphis
young.
Without Ja.
Bad. I think that whole situation just kind of hung over their heads in the offseason, and then they try to bring in Marcus Smart to bring in an identity, and, like, it's just not working at all.
Not at all. Something we have not touched on, though, Cullen, which we've kind of neglected.
What's that?
It's this in-season tournament.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't know if it's not hard, right?
No.
It's 6 groups, right? The winners of those groups plus 2 wild cards advance to a tournament bracket-style bracket, right? And then from that bracket, based on the seeding, right, they play until they eventually get to the final game. There's monetary compensation. That's the NCAA in-season tournament.
I don't hate it.
I don't either.
I hate the courts.
I hate the court. Thank you. So you come around to my side on that.
Dude, after watching, who is it that has like the blood red court? Like,
I forget who it is.
maybe,
Yes. Yeah.
I love Houston's court. It's really nice.
There's some courts where it's like, but dude, they should not be this distracting.
No, they should not.
They took our idea of like, hey, having a trophy at center court, and it's like, great, let's change everything else.
Honestly, I wouldn't hate just the stripe at the center.
That too.
Like, that would be fine. Like, that's okay.
Minimal changes, yeah.
And like maybe the lines on the court are like different colors, and like maybe you have designs on the court, but not the entire court being a solid color.
Could not agree more.
Like imagine doing like a graffiti like Houston skyline on the court.
Yeah.
That would look cool.
Yeah, like especially along like, you know, where the camera is, like at the bottom.
Yes,
or anything.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like just across the entire court. That would be fun. But the entire court being this like bright red where you're watching the game, you're like, this literally kind of hurts to watch.
Yeah, it hurts.
It's rough.
It is.
Now, that being said, the players are playing harder in those games. It's noticeable. They're trying.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Right.
You know, monetary compensation, look at what it does. Maybe you should pay them more for the All-Star game. Who would have thought? Now, it's working. Indiana Pacers have clinched their group, so they are into the next round. In Group A, still alive in that group, the Cavaliers, the Sixers, and the Hawks. The Pistons have been eliminated. Shocking. Group B, the Bucks are leading the group 3-0. Probably going to clinch here in a game or two. New York Knicks, Miami Heat, Hornets still alive. Wizards are eliminated. Group C, the Magic are leading. The Boston Celtics and then the Brooklyn Nets, they are all tied with 1 loss. Orlando only has 1 more win than the other 2. The Raptors and the Bulls are eliminated. In the West, the Lakers have clinched 4-0 in the in-season tournament. The Suns are second in that group at 3-1, looking for that wild card spot. Meanwhile, the Jazz, the Blazers, and the Grizzlies are all eliminated from that group. In Group B, this one's a shocker. The Pelicans are leading the group at 3-1. The Rockets are second at 2-1, while the Nuggets, the Mavs, and the Clippers are eliminated from contention. The Sacramento Kings are leading their group 3-0. Minnesota Timberwolves in second at 2-1, with the Warriors right behind them at 2-1, with the Thunder and the Spurs eliminated from the group. I'm interested to see how this goes when we get to the knockouts. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think that little tournament in Vegas, under the lights, like that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think something that would have been really cool is outdoor games, if you could make it possible in Vegas. But I don't know if you could make that possible.
No, I think that's just too many different elements that you can. And you know me, big dome guy. Over
here. Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Literally.
Big fan of dome. Yeah.
Anyways, so you know what I noticed from a lot of like these trends, right, of teams that are competing? A lot of these teams are younger teams.
Yeah.
Minus again, the Lakers are obviously an older team. The Bucks are kind of an older team.
But with young
elements,
fibers,
mixed in.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's where teams like that will thrive. Like we were mentioning with the West.
You know why? Because a lot of these guys are coming out of college where they did what? They played in the March Madness tournament.
Right.
You play early season tournaments. You play conference tournaments. They love tournaments are fun.
They are. And
especially single elimination.
Exactly. I mean, you see the Kings, the Timberwolves, the Rockets are still a relatively young team. The Magic are a young team. A lot of these the Pacers.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of youth in these teams, and I think those are the teams that are going to thrive for the most part.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, dude.
Yeah.
Knowing that either the Pelicans or the Rockets are guaranteed a spot in the knockouts of this are going to be fun. I really do think. So we just had to touch on it. I feel like we hadn't touched on it before. So
yeah, it's like I said, I'm still getting used to it.
I know, so am I. I honestly forgot about it until we were going through the standings and I saw it at the top and I was like, oh shit, there is a tournament going on right now. And I also do love how they're not adding games for this.
Right.
They scheduled it the right way.
Right.
And at max you pay 2 more games, I think, right?
I think so. Something like that. Yeah.
All right. Let's get on over to college football, man.
Let's do it.
The regular season of college football has come to an end.
Well, except...
And the Pac-12 is dead.
Except...
For Army and Navy.
Yes. Except conference championship week for the Pac-12. That's what I was getting to. They got one more game in their kind of...
Regular season Pac-12 is dead.
Yeah.
Pac-12 after dark is dead.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so pissed because I was just getting into the Pac-12 too with my schedule and stuff, and now it's being taken away. Now it's gonna be Big 10 after dark or Big 12.
Big 12 after dark.
Yeah.
Rivalry week does not disappoint unless you're a Texas Tech fan. We have to get it out of the way.
We're gonna. Here's the thing,
because I want to talk about it now. I don't want to talk about it the rest of the fucking
top
day.
25. You got to run through that first. Got to knock it down.
Well, Texas is in the top 25.
Well, Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Oregon, Ohio State. This is AP, by the way. Texas, Alabama, Missouri, Penn State, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, LSU, Arizona, Louisville, Notre Dame, Tulane, Iowa, Oklahoma State, Liberty, NC State, Oregon State, Toledo, James Madison, SMU. All right, now get in with your crying and all that stuff.
I'm not going to cry. We played awful. Did not show up for a massive game.
50. Andrew, I got to speak for me and Brendan here when I say
I blame the commissioner.
The commissioner you were hyping up from the moment he said it. Oh yeah. Okay, that was weird with my mic. I really was trying to get in. What the hell? Okay, are we good? I'm not touching it.
No touchy mic.
No touchy mic. Anyways, back to what I was saying. You sold us a bill of bad goods. Me and Brendan, we were like, all right, we believe.
Joey McGuire sold me a bill of bad goods.
Yep, he sold all of us, right? And this just disgusting display.
But no one told the commissioner to say that, man.
Well, but you were hyping it.
It's bulletin board material.
Oh, but you were hyping it.
I loved it.
Yeah,
of course I loved it.
Yeah, you did.
But I also knew this probably was going to bite us in the ass.
And you know what? You have to wear it now. You have to wear that bitten ass on the
Quinn Ewers didn't even play a good game.
But he played enough, and he played better than anything Texas Tech delivered.
I hope we fire our offensive coordinator.
I hope you
7 points in a Big 12. Honestly, I'd feel better if we lost 57-21.
This is the last foreseeable matchup of this rivalry, and that was the performance that Texas Tech gave.
You know what? They lost the last time they were in Lubbock. That's all I care about.
Okay. Yeah. 50.
Can't win in Lubbock.
50.
I know, Cullen.
What the heck?
I watched the game.
Trust me, I did too.
I cried when Arch Manning came into the game.
Arch Manning had his Make-A-Wish moment against you. That was the equivalent of that. He came in at the third quarter, Andrew.
Well, Bo Nix won 10 games, okay?
Yeah. Okay. So that's how I know that I've got him dead to rights is when he has to bring up other crap like that, which we'll get into that too. But yeah, this is just unbelievable.
I know, man.
Unbelievable.
I know.
Here's the thing.
I'm embarrassed.
That was a shameful performance, and it's done.
It's over. It's done.
You got a bowl game, and you'll live happily ever after in your new Big 12.
We had a winning record in the Big 12. We had back-to-back winning records for like in the first time in a long time. So
I can't wait for when you get hype again next year.
No, I'm not.
You are.
No,
you're gonna get Micah Hudson. You're gonna get Will Hammond again.
Micah did tweet right after the game.
Yeah.
He tweeted #Wreckham.
Yeah, he did. He's still down with his guys.
Will Hammond is also a dog, bro.
Okay, yeah. Just wait next year, guys. Just wait.
But Will Hammond's
touchy.
Yeah, no touchy. Will Hammond's not going to start next year, though. Micah will.
Micah will. Yeah, Micah will
absolutely has to start. Good God, we need it, bro. But look, I get it, man. It's disappointing. Look, I'm grateful that I had friends who were rooting for my school for the first time in God knows how long. But, this is the Texas Tech experience.
Mm-hmm.
We get excited. We make a little bit of noise. And then we just get
down.
You
remember how I got mad at you for woe was me for Dallas? Texas Tech, I'll allow that because again, you're going through it.
Yeah, this
right?
is bad.
It's
different. Bad. It's awful.
But
can we just move on?
We'll do Ole Miss, and then we'll do my pain. How about that?
Your pain.
Well,
yeah,
exactly.
Okay, yeah, we'll go in order. All right, the Egg Bowl. Love the Egg Bowl. One of my favorite rivalries. It's also just the coolest name for a rivalry. I love rivalry week because of the names.
Mm-hmm.
The Egg Bowl did not disappoint until the third quarter. No, the fourth quarter. Anyways, Ole Miss, number 12, Ole Miss 17, Mississippi State 7. Just a really fun game, a really classic matchup. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that we're keeping it. Glad none of these teams are leaving the SEC. Now, moving on.
Yep.
The Battle for Oregon.
Yep. The Battle for Oregon. What is the name of this rivalry? I'm pretty sure
there's a name for it, I can't think about it right now. But number 16, Oregon State, 7.
Oregon.
Texas Tech numbers.
Yeah.
Hey.
You're not wrong.
Hey.
You're not wrong.
Hey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 6, Oregon, 31.
Yep.
Bo Nix, another Heisman performance. Just incredible.
He is the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman, and I am just beside myself because here's the thing: if we're Mike, hello, can I talk, please? I've just never had so many in studio.
Mishaps.
So here's the thing: bought the jersey, by the way. So you weren't.
You
here
did?
Last week. I did. Yeah.
Did you get an Oregon jersey?
It's an Oregon Bo Nix jersey.
Nice.
I said I was going to, and here it is. Anyways, getting back to the analysis. Bo Nix is the odds-on favorite for the Heisman Trophy.
How many times are you going to wear that?
I told you, it's and through the Super Bowl.
Oh, you're right.
I mean, hold on. I actually think I still have it up.
Which one did you buy?
It's the green one with the yellow.
Cool.
Green and
just
yellow.
classic Oregon.
Yeah. It was just the one that I saw. I really didn't care. I was just like, fuck, I got to buy this.
Fuck.
Hold on. I'm pulling this up.
All right. Talk your...
Okay. Here's the thing, right? So, Bo Nix, if we're going to say he's the Heisman, I'm not sure exactly what the argument is for it. And with all due respect.
Yeah.
Numbers-wise, Jaden Daniels clears. Literally total yards, total touchdowns, all of it, right? He has just been a man amongst boys in the SEC.
Yeah.
Okay? Bo Nix is on a truly great competing team.
Yeah.
Right? No? Well, okay, JJ McCarthy, though, is doing the same thing in Michigan. Why isn't he getting more respect?
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, oh, well, he's winning in a conference that he could. Well, okay, Penix, also in the same conference, is gone undefeated where he beat Bo Nix one-on-one. I understand Bo Nix is having a great college football season. I doubted him. I was wrong, as Andrew alluded to, on the 10-game bet, whatever. I still don't think he's a first-round quarterback. We'll get into that another day. Bias aside, Jaden Daniels should be the Heisman Trophy winner, in my opinion. He's the best player of college football this entire season. It's not his fault that his head coach doesn't know how to implement the best players on his own defense, right? And it's not like Daniels has even had a bad game this entire time.
No.
He, from start to finish, has been the best player in college football.
Even in losses.
It blows my mind.
Cullen,
we're at this point.
You're going to be shocked to hear this.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
Jaden Daniels is
the Heisman.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is where Oregon was smart, and this is on a completely different side of the ball. It's not defense. It's not offense. It's the marketing department. Because guess who had massive posters up around the country?
Is it on?
Before the season even started.
It's somewhere. I know it's here.
It's got to be.
It's there.
The Heisman, Bo Nix.
Yeah. Bo knows. I get it. It's so...
It did its job.
It did its job.
Oregon did their job marketing Bo Nix.
Yep.
Bo did his job doing just enough to show, hey, I'm kind of deserving of this award.
I'll defend Bo Nix in that regard. He did more than enough.
He did more than enough. He did plenty enough.
Exactly.
He competed in every game he played in. He only lost one game all season, and that's to their biggest rival in the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, and he has a chance to avenge that loss as well. I completely understand that. And ultimately, it is kind of like the media loves a good story. I get it. You know, Bo Nix having all the turmoil that he did at Auburn, you know, having to transfer schools, building something with Dan Lanning, even though Dan Lanning was the one who built this super team. Like, good Lord. Look, I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve a spot in New York. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, I'm not outraged at the fact that he's getting nominated. To me, again, it's just, if we're coming down to it, the best player in the award should win it. I mean, Johnny Manziel, right? He wasn't on the best team in college football when he won his award. But again, his story obviously was, you know, marketed better. LSU did not do that for Jaden Daniels, and now he's suffering the consequences from it. And it's insane. So here, I'm going to do something because I did it for Brendan, so I got to do it for you. This is episode 49 of our Good Time Sports podcast. And I just want to let me make sure it's roughly going to be about it, but you're about to hear my I hate to even. I saw, again, we're not advertising gambling here, but every gambling site that I saw had Oregon, their win total at 9.5 wins. Okay. This is the closest I can do. That's why I'm kind of making the bet so extravagant.
I wish I had a bookie
this year.
Back then.
Bo Nix wins 10 games, I will buy his jersey, and I will, through the rest of the football season, that includes, you know, NFL Sunday, I might be showing up to your house, it's freaking Seahawks time, and I got to wear a Bo Nix jersey.
I like it.
I don't think the Oregon Ducks are going to make that happen, but I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to say Bo Nix and the Oregon Ducks do not get to double-digit wins this year.
All right.
So that is my official bet. I wanted to do it more personalized to Bo Nix, but again, the props, they're just... Now, I rambled a lot during that, and obviously, if you want to go check out the full version of me ranting about that, it's episode 49, Good Time Sports Podcast. It's roughly about an hour and 15 minutes in, if you want to go check that out. Have you ever seen the movie Interstellar, where Matthew McConaughey is just looking at his... past self, and he's just sitting there banging on the freaking thing. Just no. Yeah, that's
incredible movie. If you haven't seen Interstellar,
very, very.
And that's coming from Cullen, who doesn't watch movies.
Oh, it's in my top 3 movies of all time. But anyways, yeah, that was kind of my reaction to making that bet. The fact that I now have to wear a Bo Nix jersey, I'm just like, why did I have to push it that far? It would have been fine if I literally just would have been like, yeah, I got to wear it, you know, one episode or something.
Yeah.
No, I had to really just lay it on, which also leads me to the question. I've asked Brendan this. Where's your jersey bet, sir? Where the heck? I've done now 2, and now I gotta. Okay, you gotta think of one.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just tough. It might have to be like a college basketball one. I think a college basketball one would be good. I hate Hunter Dickinson. Like that would be the guy that like I would.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just the season's already started. Like it's got to come naturally too. Like yours just came like.
Which, by the way, I was thinking about this. I was talking about this the other day because they asked me about it. They were like, I was talking to a friend.
My perfect jersey bet would have been Kansas State that year. That I was like, they're gonna win the Big 12.
Well, no, because you would have been happy to wear that. That's the thing, though.
But I looked like
a perfect jersey bet. That's the thing.
I would have been sad, like if I didn't get to buy it. Like that's the thing.
No, you would have been. No, the sad part. The thing about a jersey bet is you
have to own a jersey. You have to look at it every day,
and you have to wear it. The one that you don't like.
Yeah,
that's what makes a jersey bet. Like,
yeah.
And I was talking to a friend about this. It's like, here's the thing. I've been critical of a lot of I tend to be like the more, I guess, negative, if you want to call me that. Yeah. Of certain guys. That's just because, you know, that's just who I am.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, Bo Nix and Tua, those are the ones that stuck. like in both respects. Like I don't know what it was, but it kind of like I said whatever I said about them originally, and then you guys just kind of like followed it up with a joke, and then I obviously defended that, and then it just became this whole thing, right?
If the Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl this year, I will buy a Jalen Hurts jersey.
Whoa, you're willing to put that on the line,
and I hate it.
You're willing to put that on the line,
yeah.
Wow. Okay, hold on.
Or I can buy. Can I buy an Eagles jersey? Can I buy Zach McPherson's jersey? Because he went to Tech,
Andrew,
and that would make you feel just a little bit better.
Andrew, I said what I said. All right, I'm gonna let you think. I'm not gonna. I put you on the spot. I'm not gonna force you to make a bet right now. I appreciate you just saying what you said, but like you said, the season started and everything. I'll let you think about it. How about that? And we'll do it again. I did it in front of both of you.
I won't think about it.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I did it in front of both of you, right? Because then Brendan's gonna get in on it.
Yeah.
So
true.
we'll wait.
Okay.
So we'll wait. I appreciate you. You know what? You're out of both of you two. You're the only one that said anything up to this point. And Brendan, he's the same excuse, like, I don't know about it. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, we'll come back to it. Oh, you just say. See, here's the thing. It's got to make you feel like that.
And what makes it tougher is like knowing how good they are so far, and I think that's what makes it even better. Like I'm risking a lot here.
We'll let you again think about it. I'm not gonna let you off the hook. Okay. I'm not condoning you to this bet. We'll come up with something.
Not Jalen Hurts. I would gladly buy, not gladly, because it's still an Eagles jersey. But Zach McPherson, I think I could make myself do that.
We'll come to it. Me and Brendan will come up with a. We'll come up with it. We'll come up with it. Okay.
Just owning anything with the name Philadelphia. Like
you think I love the fact that I had to buy this man? I had to buy this man's jersey. I
this
told
man
Brendan
got NIL money from that. Like,
he did. He literally is going to.
You bought that man's dinner.
Yeah, or whenever, like his Uber ride or whatever, groceries or whatever. That man, I had to postpone buying Secret Santa for our friend group because I had to buy his jersey. Do you realize how like messed up that was? I was like sitting there, like I had money saved aside, and I was like, all right, I'm going to be buying, whomever this, and I was like, nope, I can't because you guys freaking sent that in the Twitter group, and I was like, I gotta buy this freaking Bo Nix jersey.
That's crazy.
So look, it's purchased. It'll get here when it gets here. I might put a phone call into Phil Knight and be like, hey, you gotta, if you want to just do whatever you can to that jersey so it doesn't get here, by all means, because I totally have Phil Knight on speed dial.
Speed dial.
Here's the thing. I'll say this: Bo Nix. Now that we're coming full circle, and that's a long diatribe. Bo Nix, great job in the season. I still don't think you're a first round QB. We'll get more into it later, but congratulations. You did win 10 games. You're going on to play Washington, and we'll break that down later.
All right. So that being said, let's continue on through the top 25 matchups this week and the rivalry matchups. Because there's one game here that I really want to talk about because it made me very not unhappy, made me very happy. Missouri, number 9, 48 over Arkansas, 14. Penn State, 42 over Michigan State, 0. Fun fact, Oregon State's head coach is going to Michigan State. He will be their next head coach there.
Yes.
It's going to be very interesting after the firing of Mel Tucker for great reasons.
Mm-hmm. Rightfully so.
This is a guy who I have full confidence in that can rebuild this program.
I do too.
So
I think, and that's the thing, he's going to have to rebuild the base and he's going to have to start from scratch, but Michigan State can get back to where they need to be.
Yeah. All right, moving on. TCU allows 69 points to Oklahoma, but they put up 45. So it's not as embarrassing. Maybe if we had an offense, Texas Tech could have done the same fucking thing.
I was right. TCU was my most disappointing team this year, and they did not even qualify for a bowl game.
Nope, they did not. Now, this is the team that has made me very happy the last 5 weeks.
Rich.
Iowa, 13, Nebraska, 10. Cullen, what was the latest over-under for this game before the game started?
Well, here's the thing. You got it at 25.5.
Oh, I also got it at
24
and a half. I doubled down.
Oh, my gosh. And
so,
the fact that was...
Since the Iowa-Minnesota game 5 weeks ago, I have been betting Iowa unders that have gone lower and lower and lower week after week after week. I have made $235 on Iowa football in the last 5 weeks.
Not advertising gambling, by the way.
Not advertising gambling, because I have also lost good money the last few weeks. I am even with this $235 that I won from Iowa.
Again, do not gamble, folks. Point being also, are you going to what is, okay, so it goes, you double down, then you triple down, then you quadruple down, then you quintuple down. What's 6?
Sextuple down.
Sextuple down
Yeah,
against Michigan. You think you're going to take the under on that one?
Absolutely freaking not. No way in hell. I'm done. There's regular season only. It's over.
Yeah.
Cool. And Iowa fired their OC, so like next year, who knows if I'll even think about it. Anyways.
Yeah.
Number 17, Iowa 13. They head to the Big Ten championship game to face the Michigan Wolverines. We will get into that in just a little bit.
Right.
Number 23, Tulane 29, headed to the AAC championship game. They beat UTSA 29-16. Sorry. All right. Georgia Tech. If only this rivalry was going to stick around in Texas. 31-23. Georgia. We'll come back to this one. Number 4, Washington, 24, Washington State, 21 in the Apple Cup.
At the buzzer.
At the buzzer.
Washington escapes.
If Oregon doesn't beat Washington,
we'll get into it
next week, which we will get into.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about that.
They opened up as a 9.5 point favorite, by the way, Oregon did.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Florida State, 24, Florida 15. The Iron Bowl, 27, Alabama, 24,
by the
Auburn.
Way,
also,
banger
of a game.
Oh my God.
Skin of their teeth, Alabama pulls it out. The Iron Bowl very rarely disappoints. Yeah. The battle for Kentucky, 38, Louisville, number 10, Louisville, 31. Mm-hmm. Kentucky runs blue, baby.
Yep.
All right. Jimbo's gone. Jimbo's been gone a couple weeks. We didn't even get to talk about it because I haven't been here the last couple weeks.
Well, we talked about it, but you have not talked about it with us. Yes.
Jimbo's gone.
Yep.
For good reason. LSU 42, Texas A&M 30. A&M had just 1 win and 2 wins enough to make a bowl game this year.
It was a comeback, too, by LSU.
The rebuild's going to be heavy.
Yeah, it will be.
Last year, we were talking about that number 1 recruiting class coming into A&M. This year, next year, or who knows what we're going to be talking about. Because I hate their head coaching hire.
They're from Kentucky, right?
No.
Or not. It was
the guy from Kentucky, Mark Stoops.
No, it was.
Now it's Elko from Duke.
Duke. Okay, excuse me. It makes my blue bloods up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was supposed to be Stoops.
Yeah.
And look, all I have to say is I have very close Aggie friends. They also disliked those hires heavily. I hate it. I hate both of them. I think you should have gotten someone who knows the SEC much better than an ACC football coach.
Yep. I agree.
Who's not at Florida State or Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia's DC, I think, would have been the perfect hire for them. But whatever. What do I know?
Yep.
Yeah. Number 14, LSU 42, Texas A&M 30. Jaden Daniels is a dog. Just
give him the Heisman. I'm not even kidding. Like,
also, their leading rusher.
Yes.
11 carries for 120 yards.
He has over 1,000 yards on the year.
Rushing.
Yes.
Nuts. All right. Arizona is very good at football.
And basketball.
And damn good at basketball. 59 over Arizona State.
59-23.
59-23 over Arizona State. That's also a very fun game. I'm glad that's sticking around, even if it's in a new conference. Notre Dame 56, Stanford 23. Notre Dame finishes the year at 9-3. That's a disappointing year for Notre Dame. Yeah. After all the hype they had coming in with Sam Hartman.
They really went downhill after they lost to Ohio State.
Yeah, pretty rough.
Yep.
Farmageddon has to be one of the most sleeper games every single year. This was the most beautiful snow game I think I've seen in a very long time.
Yep.
Except for that, you remember that Army-Navy game where Army wore all white?
Yeah.
That was fun to watch.
Yeah.
But Farmageddon, Iowa State 42, Kansas State 35. Will Howard has entered the transfer portal, and he is leaving Kansas State, which is going to be big for the Wildcats moving forward. We'll see how that goes. Another very fun game. Number 20, Oklahoma State 40, BYU 34. Why wasn't Bedlam during rivalry week? don't know.
That's a good question.
Very good question. This one came down to the wire.
Double OT.
Oklahoma State takes their spot in the Big 12 championship, knocking out
Oklahoma.
Their biggest rival, Oklahoma. They did what I wished we could have fucking done to Oklahoma, but whatever. At least someone did it.
Ollie Gordon.
Shout out to the Hateful Eight.
Ollie Gordon. My God.
Dude.
34 carries, 166 yards, 5
a lot of carries, man.
Call that man a workhorse.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, 5 tutties.
5 tutties.
5. All right. The battle in Tennessee, brother. Poor Vanderbilt, man. They're bad at football.
The Harvard of the South.
They're honestly bad at everything except for baseball.
Hey, you know what? And academics as well.
But
too.
they're damn good at baseball.
Yeah, they are really good at baseball.
Really good at law, too.
Yeah.
Number 21, Tennessee 48, Vanderbilt 24. NC State versus North Carolina. NC State takes this one 39-20. And then South Carolina right below them had their own in-state rivalry. Clemson 16, South Carolina 7. Look at all these protected rivalries, man. Don't you love to see it?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you love to see it? Anyways, Liberty 42 over UTEP 28. Rivalry week is
say that 3 times fast.
Far and beyond my favorite week, and we haven't even touched on a rivalry that's so highly touted and so important. It doesn't even need a name. It's just called the game.
The game.
Michigan, number 3, Michigan, and J.J. McCarthy and Blake Corum take down the Ohio State Buckeyes 30-24, and this game was a lot of fun.
Michigan, the year of Harbaugh. They did what they needed to do. Their defense.
Bet.
Yeah, exactly. Michigan moves on to the Big Ten championship game after knocking off Ohio State. J.J. McCarthy, when they needed him most, came through with his best performance in many weeks. Blake Corum, as you mentioned, did his thing. Roman Wilson had a nice touchdown catch as well in this one. Their defense, when they needed to get a stop, forced Kyle McCord into a game-stealing interception. Listen, Ohio State came to play. They're better than Penn State, so I got to give them credit. And ultimately, they were a better team than what I thought they could be. They are now at the mercy of Michigan in this conference. And with new guys coming in as well, we'll see where the pecking order is, because with the way Oregon's looking this year and what Dan Lanning has built in Autzen Stadium, that's a challenge. Washington and Coach DeBoer, they're going to be no easy out. USC, again, Lincoln Riley will at least make the scores competitive in terms of offense. And then, hey, UCLA with whatever they decide to do, I mean, hey, that's something as well. But it just adds to the level of competition. Ryan Day, here's the thing. I don't believe he should get fired, because I don't think, him just losing just to Michigan and I think, what was it, Georgia last year?
Yeah, I think the smart thing for Ryan Day to do, though, is maybe change of scenery.
Maybe.
Take one of these contract offers that he's definitely going to be getting from somewhere else.
It may not pay as well as Ohio State, and it may not get the recruits as Ohio State's able to, and that's probably why he won't do it.
Ryan Day is not an awful coach.
He's not the
coach to be Michigan.
No. And I think Ohio State will probably come to that realization sooner rather than later, but I don't think it's going to be this year or this offseason, I should say.
Bring back Urban. What? Just jokes, folks.
Chill on the kicker.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, we went there. Hey, no, we don't forget. We don't forget stuff like that.
Yeah,
we don't forget about fluff pieces and all that crap.
Dude.
All right.
We do not.
Let's move on.
Dude.
Conference championship week, bro.
Yeah, what a game. What a week. Conference championships are set, and they have massive implications.
So the big one that everyone's going to be looking out, it comes
is New Mexico State and Liberty.
Thank you. I was going right there. Thank you. Yeah, Friday. Opening it up. Now we got to talk about the Pacific Northwest battle. That I think this is the biggest game that these two teams have played against each other literally since earlier this year. But then outside of that, in Lord knows how long.
Yeah.
My God, Oregon versus Washington, Pac-12 championship game in the final year of the Pac-12. The two teams that are leaving the Pac-12 and moving on to greener pastures, they will be taking on each other in Las Vegas, Nevada on December the 1st. Oregon, let me just currently, they are still a 9.5-point favorite at Allegiant Stadium. Here's what I'll say. Washington is about as unimpressive an undefeated team as, well, outside of Florida State in the country. Here's what I'll also say. Oregon should win this game. And ultimately, I will be picking the Ducks. I know, picking Bo Nix. But I think it's just at this point, it's a...
You already lost the bet. It's like, gotta be honest.
Well, no, here's the thing. Even when I was still in the bet, I would be saying like, hey, out of principle, I'm picking this team, but in reality, Oregon's the better team. So it's no secret that Oregon now, to me, and I told Brendan this last week, they're the third best team in the country.
Yeah.
Georgia, Michigan, Oregon. They separate themselves from everybody else.
Yeah.
Dan Lanning, credit to him, they built a physical juggernaut that just beats people up.
Studs.
Washington has a chance in this game from the pure simple fact that they just find ways. No matter how far they're down, no matter who they're going up against, they play to the level of their competition, and they will give whomever a dogfight. Michael Penix, when he needs to, he can make throws that almost any quarterback in the country can make.
Yep.
Rome Odunze is a legit NFL wide receiver that will go first
without
round.
a doubt.
But I think if you're ultimately asking me who is the better, more versatile, more physical, better all-around team, it's going to be the Oregon Ducks, and I do expect them to win the final Pac-12 title and move on to the college football playoff.
I agree.
Moving on in to Saturday.
11 a.m., the Big 12 Championship in Arlington, Texas. Number 20, Oklahoma State versus number 7, Texas. Could you imagine if Oklahoma State pulls this off?
Can you imagine if Oklahoma was in here? That would have been a real...
Oh my God, it would have been so great.
It unfortunately was not meant to be.
It was not. And you know what? That's not Oklahoma State's fault. They won the games they were supposed to. And Oklahoma did not.
Yeah, Oklahoma literally, from the moment they beat Texas, all they had to do was take care of their own business, and they would have been in this game.
Yep, all they had to do. Now, that being said, Texas, this cannot be one of your sayings.
Ho-hum. Yeah.
Death, taxes, and Texas blowing leads has been something that has been very apparent this season. Mm-hmm. All right. And look, I want to get into it now because this is how important championship week is.
Right. Go ahead.
Texas, I know you have an argument of the games that Oregon won close. Mm-hmm. All right. I understand. You beat Texas Tech by 50. Oregon beat us by 8. Let's also talk about the fact that Texas Tech had a fully healthy football team then. Didn't have guys sitting out to keep red shirts. Didn't have guys injured the game before. That was the best Texas Tech performance we've seen all year. That was our best game. We showed up for it. It was in Lubbock, Texas. Naturally, we were going to give Oregon a better game, I think, in my opinion. It just made sense. That being said, Texas, you also had one-possession wins against Houston. You had a one-possession win against TCU. You had a one-possession win against Kansas State. These are all teams who you would say are inferior to you. So don't sit here and talk about Oregon having slight one-possession wins over teams like Texas Tech when you had massive leads against some teams, and they still came back, almost forced overtime. Kansas State did force overtime. You went down to the wire with Houston, who just fired Dana Holgerson. TCU, who went to the Natty last year, got blown out, and this year didn't even make a bowl game. I don't want to hear the argument.
Well, you're going to hear the argument.
You're going to hear it. You're going to hear it. But look, if you're going to point out close wins for Oregon, point out your own close wins. Take a look at your own schedule. Take a look at your own scores. I get it. It doesn't matter how you win as long as you win in a lot of situations. But when it comes to the college football playoffs, it does matter.
Now, here's what I'll say. Is that the conclusion?
I'm good.
Okay. So here's what I'll say. Ohio State's the main one that I have gripe with. And again, it was because
no touchy mic.
I know, seriously. It's just I'm so used to it. Here's what I'll say in terms of Oregon. I do believe Oregon should be. I just said that they're the third best team in the country. That's not who I'm arguing with. So that whole diatribe, that's not where I was going with it. Oregon should be, in terms of one-loss teams, favored over Texas. That's not what my beef was.
Yeah.
My beef is with Ohio State. Ohio State, right? I, again, wasn't high on them at the beginning of the season. Ultimately, I was proven right that they're not on Michigan's level.
Yeah.
They did beat Penn State, right? To me,
Handedly.
Texas, if they win the Big 12, which, again, that's a big if, as you alluded
Knowing
to.
Texas.
I picked them to win the Big 12. I think I'm still going to rock with them. I'm picking the Longhorns. I think that should automatically vault them behind Oregon as the next best one-loss team.
If Oregon wins their game.
Right. If Oregon, now that's another thing. If Oregon loses that game, that puts Texas in a really bad spot because it's more likely that a one-loss Washington they could jump versus yes, they would jump a two-loss Oregon, correct. But also, having an undefeated champ right there, it just allows a little bit more, okay, Texas, and what it's about. Because here's the thing with Texas, right?
You also have to think about the fact that the college football playoff is also starting to learn not to punish teams for having to play an extra game.
Right, exactly.
And if Washington loses, who's to say they don't keep Washington at 5 and Oregon at 4?
It's true. That's a very good point. I got
no touchy Mike.
No touchy. I'm just going to have to freaking... here's what I'll say. Texas, their path to getting in my opinion, was if Oregon would have lost to Oregon State, if Washington would have lost to Washington State, and they were both 1-1, to have Washington lose and then whomever. Texas should be, in my opinion, 6th behind, Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Oregon, Florida State, and then Texas.
Yeah.
I think Florida State
and then Ohio State.
Yeah, and then Ohio State. To me, Florida State, without their starting quarterback, they're just a shell of what they could be. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose to Louisville.
And if they keep winning, if they beat Louisville, there's no way.
They're an undefeated team, and it's just tough. So they need Florida State to lose. They need, more likely, I would assume they would probably need Oregon to lose also, but also they could lose Washington. So one of those teams, right? You'd have to assume Alabama could beat Georgia and hope Georgia drops.
Yeah.
You would have to also then,
Which even then, again,
that
goes back to the whole, you're going to punish a team for having to play an extra game.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
and then, again, Iowa's putrid offense somehow beating Michigan. Like, you have to have so much crap to help you. And the fact is that because they're not the best one-loss team, that puts them in a really difficult spot. I do think them beating Oklahoma State will help their chances in terms of solidifying themselves in a potential shakedown.
Yeah.
But here's what I'll also say. If one of these teams has something happen to their signal caller, a.k.a. what happened to Florida State, that could also affect things, especially if they lose or win and they're kind of ugly. So here's what I'll say. Texas, do they have a shot at making the college football playoff?
It's there.
It's there, but it's very unlikely.
Yeah.
I think, Washington, if Texas comes out and blows the doors off Oklahoma State, and maybe Washington somehow escapes with a narrow win versus Oregon, because here's the thing, the committee wants to put Oregon ahead of Washington, but they can't because Washington beat them head-to-head.
Yep.
Right? But
I think anybody right now would want to put Oregon above Washington.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think in my true thoughts that if Texas somehow wins and is a one-loss Big 12 championship, there will be an argument versus them in Washington. There will be an argument. I don't know if they'll win the argument.
But then here it comes. Let's say Bama beats Georgia.
That's a fair point.
And then you're debating, Texas beat Bama in Tuscaloosa. But also, Bama just beat Georgia.
Exactly.
Like, it could... Let's talk about the chaos scenario here real quick.
Chaotic.
Let's talk about the chaos scenario here real quick. All right. Michigan, I think is the safest win here over Iowa. Okay.
Yes.
So Michigan, let's say, is number 1. They win.
Yep. At which they should be.
They're the only undefeated team left at this point because let's say
Alabama
beats Georgia.
Yep.
Texas beats Oklahoma State.
Yep. Louisville beats Florida State.
Yeah. Oregon beats Washington.
Okay.
Louisville beats Florida State.
Yep.
Do you see how many one-loss teams there are?
And I'm not going to lie, Texas, there's not 4 teams better one-losses than Texas. I'm just letting you know that right now. So whatever way you got to figure that out.
Be a true chaos scenario, brother.
That's what I'm saying. My point is that in your scenario, I would definitely have Michigan in. I definitely have Oregon in.
Yeah.
I would probably have Georgia still in.
You'd have to. Again, you can't punish them for losing an extra game that they had to play.
And then Texas. Because that's the thing. I'm putting them ahead of Florida State, right?
I don't disagree with you.
Here's the thing. One loss Florida State, they're better than.
Yeah.
They're better than the one loss Ohio State that didn't even make the Big Ten championship game.
Nope.
They're better than Alabama, who they beat. And they're better than, who would that be? Washington, a one loss who didn't win their own conference.
Look.
That is the only way Texas gets into the college football playoff.
Going off of what I saw with TCU last year, having lost to Kansas State in the Big 12 championship and still making the college football playoffs.
That's different, though. They didn't lose their quarterback like Florida State did.
I understand that. And I'm not even talking about Florida State here. I'm talking about, I think, your scenario makes the most sense.
Yeah,
okay?
At that point.
When I'm looking at how the College Football Playoffs Committee likes to rank teams, I see Michigan 1.
Yep.
Georgia 2.
In that scenario, by the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Michigan 1.
Yep.
Georgia 2.
Right.
Oregon 3.
Yep.
Washington 4.
And that would I'm not going to lie, Washington would sit there and they do have the best case in terms of like being a one-loss non-champion.
Yeah.
And that would annoy.
And then you have no choice but to rank Oregon because Oregon just beat the only undefeated team left in the Pac-12.
But wouldn't you argue if Georgia loses that you'd have even Oregon at 2? I think Oregon might even jump Georgia in that scenario.
Yeah, but then still, Georgia's still my 3. Like it's
no.
I just don't see a committee ranking Texas in the top 4 at all, even in chaos scenario.
I do. The thing is, you cannot. Texas fans would be irate because again, they lost to Oklahoma. That's not like it's a bad loss. It's
Who then lost to Oklahoma State?
I know, but that they beat, right? They would beat Oklahoma State in that scenario.
Yeah,
exactly. So and then Oklahoma, look, they've handled business otherwise. And again, they stomped the year. What they need to do is they have to blow out Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma also lost to Kansas.
Okay, and Kansas is a pretty good team that Texas also beat. So there you go. I get it. The Texas Longhorns are not your favorite team. I get that.
I'm trying to look at this objectively.
No, here's the thing.
Like I really am.
The only thing that would have been better going up against Oklahoma State is going up against Oklahoma and avenging your one loss, like Oregon's potentially about to do to Washington.
Yeah.
The thing. Oh my
gosh. Touchy Mike.
Gosh, dude. Washington, I'm going to say this right now, and I'm not even going to be hypocritical about it. If Washington, which I've loved, and I really hope they beat Oregon just out of spite, but I think Oregon's going to win.
Yeah.
I will not back the Huskies in the college football playoff if they do not win the Pac-12 championship game.
I agree. I think that's how it should be. But I do not see the committee doing it.
I do. Because here's the thing. Washington has not looked impressive in their since they've beaten Oregon, right? You want to talk about
they've had close wins, yeah.
They've literally, Arizona State. Remember, it took a pick 6 late in the fourth quarter to escape with that one. Stanford? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
42-33. USC, granted, that was the best of their offensive look, but again, that was the last game of the defensive coordinator that just got fired of the Lincoln Riley era. Utah, again, barely escaped against a freshman quarterback making his second official start or first official, one of the two. They beat Oregon State by 2 that Oregon just clobbered. And then Washington State, they literally just had to have a walk-off field goal. They're all, outside of the USC and Stanford game, they're all within, actually including the USC and Stanford game, they're all within 10 points. And against not some great competition. Okay? Yeah. So, don't give me that Washington is overpowered just juggernaut. I'm sorry. If the Huskies lose to Oregon, and again, the chaotic scenario happens, which, to be honest, they wouldn't even need Alabama to beat Georgia at that point.
Yeah.
So you would literally need Oregon to beat Washington.
Yeah.
You need Florida State to lose to Louisville.
Yep.
I'm just saying. It's right there. Ohio State in no world should be ranked above this Texas team. No shot. Now, again, if they lose to Oklahoma State, you got me. It's, you know what? Texas deserves to play freaking Tulane. Yeah.
And lose like USC did.
Yeah. Or whatever. But again, if the scenario happens where they take care of business against Oklahoma State and Louisville knocks off Florida State and Washington loses to Oregon, that's enough for me to put Texas in the 4th spot. That's enough.
I don't disagree. I don't. I don't see it happening, and I think that's where we're differing.
That's fair.
But
Alabama, Georgia, who do you got?
Georgia.
I got Georgia too.
I think
this could be a statement win for Carson Beck in Georgia.
Yeah.
And I think Jalen Milroe coming off a really high Iron Bowl, he might come out a little flat. Iron Bowl. He could come out a little flat against Georgia.
I agree.
That's never good to do.
Yeah. So we both said Oregon. Texas, Oklahoma State, I assume we're both taking Texas.
Yep. Georgia.
Michigan, Iowa.
Michigan. Louisville.
Louisville. I'm going Louisville too.
I'm going Louisville.
No.
I don't think that Florida State, despite all their talent, I don't think they're knocking off Florida State.
No.
Or Florida State's going to survive.
Yeah.
Should say.
I agree. Colin, we've talked a lot of college football. We've talked a lot this podcast. We have one more sport to get to. So let's head on over to the NFL, and I'm pumped for championship week.
I am too, brother.
All right. Week 12 in the National Football League was not one without some upsets and some fun. But let's start it off with Thursday night on Thanksgiving Day, the morning game or the noon game. The Green Bay Packers 29 to the Detroit Lions 22. And I'm not worried about the Lions because they just don't win on Thanksgiving, and this is just what happened again.
It was such a good thing. This was like Lions fans were like, finally.
Yeah.
We got a game against a low-hanging fruit Green Bay Packers team.
Division rival.
We've already smoked them once this season. Like, let's get ours on Thanksgiving.
Do it.
At our house. No. Jordan Love just turned into the second coming of Aaron Rodgers and decided, hey, I'm going to throw for a party.
This is Jordan Love's one good game of the entire season, and he used it on Thanksgiving.
He did have a great game last week.
Yeah.
And again, against the Chargers and against his Lions defense also. I am out on Jordan Love again. I've said this from the get-go. I still think he's a guy that's probably a backup.
Yep.
I'm now going to just monitor the situation because, again, him and LaFleur are starting to cook. But I'm not willing to fully jump into the pool yet.
Yeah, I agree.
But Jared Goff, listen, he had a fumble? He had 3 fumbles in this game after coming off a 3-pick game last week.
Yep.
You need to cut it out with the turnovers, bud.
Starting to look like Rams Goff.
Or Josh Allen, regular. Moving on over to the annual Dallas Cowboys ass-kicking on Thanksgiving, it seems like. Cowboys took care of business against the Washington Commanders 45-10. Dak Prescott, 22-32. 331, 4 touchdowns. He was phenomenal. Tony Pollard got in the end zone. Sam Howell was beat up this game. And, the Cowboys are, rolling, getting hot. And listen, man, I know you hate to hear this. They are still, in terms of the NFC, outside of, again, San Francisco that they still have to prove that they can beat.
Yeah.
They've got the, Eagles coming up in 2 weeks. You got Miami 2 weeks after that. You got Buffalo in between them. Cowboys have a chance, man, to potentially get, compete in this division. Believe it or not.
I know. And look, all it takes is the Eagles losing to the Niners and us beating the Eagles. Like, that's all it takes.
And then you're first place.
Yeah, we're first place. So it's just, I don't know. I really want to believe in this Cowboys team. I really, really do because they're so freaking good. I can't do it. I can't. The Cowboys have hurt me way too much, and I'm happy with a 5 seed. Like, whatever. If we get the 5 seed, we get the 5 seed.
You play at Atlanta at this point.
We need to stop disrespecting Dak Prescott, though.
Dak, here's the thing. What I'll say about Dak. Dak, to me, I think rightfully so, is playing on the good side of what Dak can do.
Yes.
Which is looking like a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, does he stay there? We'll see.
We'll see. Because he's got some games against some really competitive teams coming up.
But like I said, even guys like Tua, can have stretches where they look like they're in the MVP conversation.
Yep.
This is Dak's right now. Dak is in the point where he's looking like an MVP.
Yeah.
And right now we have to give him his credit because he's through really, I want to say it was since he gets the Chargers, or maybe it was after, he's looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
And you have to give him credit where credit's
Can you do it against the Bills? Can you do it against the Dolphins?
and the Eagles.
Can you do it against the Eagles?
Yep.
Those are the 3 games I'm looking at. Which, look, and the last time we played the Eagles, Dak had an incredible game.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible game.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think he's playing. That's where Dak's shortfalls have come in the past, is when he plays a good team, he plays very average.
Especially with a great defense.
Especially with a great defense.
Yeah.
But he's been playing well against the good teams. And his defense has been letting him down against the good teams. It's just been the opposite. So I'm interested to see how this goes moving forward. But the Cowboys are taking care of business when they're supposed to. We have to shout out Deron Bland.
Yep.
5 pick sixes in one season to set the single season NFL record. What an achievement.
This Cowboys defense was in kind of shock mode.
Shambles.
Whenever Trayvon Diggs went down.
Shambles.
And Deron Bland, moving him from inside to outside has really paid off for this team. They look like they're humming on all cylinders. They may even bring Darius Leonard or Shaq Leonard, I should say.
Hey, look, if anyone's going to get that guy right, it's that boy Dan Quinn.
DQ. Man, I miss him right now. I really do. Speaking of missing him and the team that he used to be a part of, the Seattle Seahawks got dismantled at home on Thanksgiving by the San Francisco 49ers, 31-13. Brock Purdy, 21-30, 209, a touchdown and a pick. He really wasn't even the main show.
No.
It was the fact that the defense of San Francisco is about as dominant as ever now that they've acquired Chase Young. And I am just sitting here being like, okay, whoever thought we were competing in this division, I don't want to hear it. Because San Francisco's got this on lock. Also, Geno, I'm about ready to just be on Brendan Carson level of hatred of my own QB. Like, I am about there. Because, look, Geno, you gave us a great year last year. And the fact that you were able to secure us, a playoff berth after the year that we thought we were going to have, coming off the offseason that we had and everything, I haven't written back yet. Like that, I will never forget that season for as long as I live. Like, that is such a true core moment. But the problem is that Seattle, much like the rest of the world, kind of figured, okay, well, what else can you do after that? And similar to his last 8 games last year, he's played a lot like that this year. And to me, now Seattle is kind of sitting there thinking, okay, we're in a weird spot because look, I'm not even trying to humbly brag here. We've got a really good offensive line when it's healthy.
Yeah.
Running backs, we've got 2 really good second rounders that are paying off. Wide receivers, we're loaded. DBs, again, we're getting old at safety, but again, still producing back there. Corners were looking really good. Linebackers, we still got Bobby Jordan Brooks running around, which he's played a lot better, by the way.
He has.
And then acquiring Leonard Williams, this defensive line's even looking like.
Didn't you have a pick 6?
Yes, in this one. Yeah. It was a awkward pass off of Brock Purdy's hand.
Pick 6 is
pick
6.
Exactly. Well, it was our only touchdown this game, so thank you. Thank you, Jordan Brooks. No, look, here's what I'll say. Geno and John Snyder has had a history of this. They told him last year, after the season that he had, hey, we might go get one of these guys, especially if Anthony Richardson falls to us, which he was one pick ahead. Yeah. We've done it with Jimmy Graham. We've done it with Percy Harvin. Do not be surprised if the Seattle Seahawks are aggressive in trying to upgrade their draft position to potentially getting Geno Smith's successor. I'm just letting you know now. I don't think that it's a for sure thing, and Geno still has a chance to turn the season around and turn his whole perception around. But Seattle's never been known to be complacent, and I, for the sake of my sanity, hope that's true.
They don't need those first-round picks.
No.
They don't.
They really don't.
That being said, you know who would look really good in this backfield behind this O-line? Someone named Russell Wilson.
He, listen, we'll get into,
no touchy Mike.
No touchy. Sean Payton, I got to give him credit. We'll get into this later. He's done a miraculous job with fixing Russell Wilson. Yeah. He looks almost like prime Seattle Russ.
And
it's insane.
We'll get there in a bit. The first ever NFL Black Friday game, the Miami Dolphins 34, New York Jets 13. Tua Tagovailoa didn't have his best game of the season at all. Raheem Mostert had 20 carries for 94 yards and 2 tutties. Jalen Waddle had probably his best receiving game of the year so far, followed closely behind by Tyreek Hill, who got the touchdowns. But yeah, the Dolphins pulled this one out on prime time, not even prime time, during the middle of the day during Black
Prime
Friday.
Video.
Yeah. Prime Video. Yeah.
There you go.
Prime Vision.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Tim Boyle got to start a game in the NFL.
Yeah.
Next. Never give up on your dreams, kids.
Yeah.
Seriously. Here's the thing with Tua, though, too. And I'll bring it. Listen, we talked about Tua and everything. I think we all came to a consensus that we don't think Tua's a tier 1 guy. We think he's a tier 2 guy.
Top of the tier 2, around there.
That's, again, fine. I'll live with that.
Dak is the top of the tier 2.
Well, again, we're not trying to get into specifics here. Point being is Tua still, to this point, has not put a full season together of just, and that's kind of what tier 2 guys are. They can't put a full season together. I really want to know how he does, because the Dolphins' schedule gets really tough at the end of the year. They face, after the Commanders, Titans, and Jets, they go Dallas, Baltimore, Buffalo, those final 3. I'm very interested to see how he does in those 3 games.
Yeah.
So he's got a, fairly easy stretch these next, including the Jets again, like, good Lord. But I want to see him start to build some confidence up, really stick it to the guys like me, who,
I agree.
And all this stuff. Because Tua, hey, listen, man, you're healthy now. We got to start producing.
But he still hasn't beat a team above 500. Neither is Dak.
In which they play each other later. Yep. So, you never know.
There you go. One of them's got to get it.
One of them, yeah, exactly.
All right. Moving on to the noon kickoffs on Sunday, because there were so many games earlier in the week. Mm-hmm. The Atlanta Falcons beat the New Orleans Saints 24-15. I think the Dennis Allen era in New Orleans needs to end.
Derek Carr era too.
Yeah.
I'm so done. Here's the thing. New Orleans should be running away with this division, but I picked Atlanta before the season started because you know what? Atlanta's just, again, they win ugly. And they
do.
And Arthur Smith, for as much crap as he gets from the fantasy football community, knows how to make winning football decisions.
Bijan, 16 carries, 91 yards, and guess what? A touchdown.
Yeah, and then, next week, Algier will get the bulk of the carries.
Yep.
Because that's what Smith does.
For some reason.
I don't know. But Carr, the fact that he has set this franchise back further than what they already were cap-wise.
It's crazy.
I'm at this point, Olave looked like he had a really good game going, and then he got a concussion. Like,
dude,
nothing can go right.
The Saints are going to be screwed for years.
With that cap situation.
Yeah. Awful.
I agree.
Awful.
They just need to face the music. They've been pushing it off, again, not dealing with their credit card debt that they obviously have.
Yeah.
And they need to deal with it sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Now let's talk about a guy who just knows how to win, literally just average. I think the definition of below average, honestly.
He's, yeah, I agree.
The Pittsburgh Steelers win 16-10 against the Cincinnati Bengals, who have placed Joe Burrow on IR.
By the way, I told this to Connor, and he agrees. The AFC North gives such Big Ten vibes.
Oh, my God, they do.
Oh, my God.
Without a doubt.
I'm glad you
Look
agree.
at the colors, too.
Literally.
The Steelers are Iowa. The
Cincinnati.
The Bengals are Illinois.
Baltimore would be like Northwestern.
Oh, they are Northwestern. Yeah.
And then Cleveland would be, who would it be?
The Qs. They'd be Syracuse.
Yeah, the Syracuse.
Just orange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aesthetics.
Anyways, Kenny Pickett. Let's talk about this man's incredible stats. He had 278 yards.
24-33. You realize this was the first time the Pittsburgh Steelers had gone over 400 yards of offense in over 50 games?
They are Iowa.
And also, by the way, first game without Matt Canada as their OC. I wonder if that's going to be a trend moving forward.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very.
Huh.
Also, they said Jalen Warren and George Pickens were going to be getting the ball more, and they were
crazy.
wrong.
What happens when you fire a bad offensive coordinator?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Yeah. Jake Browning's Jake Browning.
Speaking of fired coaches, the Carolina Panthers have fired Frank Reich after a 1-10 start in Carolina. The third straight year with a one-and-done coach.
This guy had a shorter leash than Urban Meyer did in Jacksonville.
Crazy.
I don't believe Frank Reich's a NFL head coach. In all honesty, I think he can be a pretty solid OC.
Better dude than Urban Meyer.
I got to say this, man, because as a Cowboys fan, how bad of ownership can really derail a franchise.
Oh, yeah.
David Tepper, my God.
I think he's overtaken Jim Irsay, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Irsay's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I think Tepper's bad.
I think Irsay's bad in terms of a PR standpoint, whereas Tepper is just decision-making. Yeah,
bad.
He's bad.
Yeah.
They fired also Josh McCown today.
Yep.
Both McCown and Reich said, they're on record, we wanted to take C.J. Stroud.
Yep.
The owner wanted Bryce Young. And now look who remains. The owner of Bryce Young.
We'll get to C.J.
Yeah.
We'll get to C.J.
Will Levis got the job done. This is, whatever in Tennessee.
17-10. over the Panthers.
Yeah.
All right. The Indianapolis Colts 27, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 20. Gardner Minshew did just
The Brendan Bowl.
enough. Yeah, literally the Brendan Bowl.
Minshew versus Baker.
Yeah.
Both
crazy.
Both just mediocre
Just
quarterbacks.
Mid-off.
Mid-off, really.
Yeah, there's a few mid-offs.
Yeah, and this was one of them.
This was, definitely one of them.
Yeah. God, Lord.
Yeah, moving on, the New York Giants 10, the New England Patriots 7, and Tommy DeVito was the best quarterback in this game with 191 yards and 1 touchdown.
Mac Jones got benched for the 4th time this season.
He's so bad.
Very.
He is so bad.
Very.
Oh, my God, he's awful.
So bad.
There's just not much to say about that game.
Nope.
All right, I do want to talk about this one. The Jacksonville Jaguars 24 over the Houston Texans 21. What a game. This game was just fun to watch.
The Prince still reigns in the AFC South.
Sure does.
We got to find a nickname for CJ. I mean, I know Stroud Boys, but like we got to think of like a nickname.
A non, yeah.
Yeah, non.
That.
Yeah, non that name.
Yeah. Stroud boys stand up and stand by, baby. CJ Stroud, 26 for 36, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He also had 6 carries for 47 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Dude, this man just keeps proving himself week after week after week. He is running away with the Rookie of the Year, and he is
in the MVP conversation.
Without a doubt.
That take that I had beginning of the season aged like milk.
Like milk that's already been in the sun for like a few days.
Yeah, it's really bad.
You bought expired milk and then let it age.
Now, I will say, in terms of talent, he didn't have the best, I'd say, out of all the rookie QBs.
But he didn't pass tests.
I know, right? But he's a football player. What I'll say about Stroud is his coaching staff is about the best situation a rookie QB could have asked for.
Dude,
D'Amico.
I love D'Amico Ryan. Like, you see him on the sidelines, emotionless.
Yeah.
The whole game, he just...
By the way, Ben Swolik, he came from the Kyle Shanahan system.
Yeah.
D'Amico brought him over.
Yeah.
We see these guys, right? Like Kevin O'Connell from the McVay tree. We see Mike McDaniel from Shanahan. Ben Swolik, I'm just letting you know right now, he's going to be the next offensive guru that's going to get a head coaching job, and he's going to do work and wonders.
Ben Johnson first, buddy.
Ben Johnson first. I'm saying fair, but Ben Johnson came from, I forget which tree he came from. Regardless, Swolik will also be one of those guys that, like, you give him an opportunity. Based on what he did with CJ Stroud, just wait for it.
That's going to be a lot of fun. But I don't know, dude. I love Stroud because this man just knows how to share the ball.
He does.
You don't know who's going to go off week to week.
Here's oh my God.
No touchy mic.
I know.
Cut.
Now
there
I'm
you
cut.
go.
There you go. Now I had to touch it again to make it work.
Yeah, no touchy mic.
No touchy mic.
Touchy mic once, fix.
Touchy mic 2 times?
Broke.
Touchy
mic.
3 times?
Fix again. Okay.
All right, anyways.
We have been going so long in this episode.
I know we have. I know we have. I know. And that's the thing. It's the first episode you've been back, and we're getting into it. Here's what I'll say. Trevor Lawerence is him in terms of, like, still being a guy because he made the plays when it mattered. Calvin Ridley, when he's on, and Christian Kirk and everything, and when this offense is flowing.
Yeah.
Nice. And that was without Etienne, by the way. 20 carries for 56 yards.
Yeah.
That was all Trevor Lawrence. Stroud also, that throw to Tank Dell, probably should have been caught if it wasn't for an illegal motion, I believe it was called.
Yes. It was the illegal motion.
That was tough. And then even then, the Texans had a 58-yarder that doinks off the crossbar, and then he got cut today.
Yep.
Amendola. So
that is the closest I think I've ever seen a field goal miss.
Yeah.
Like, it was there.
Yeah.
It just bad bounce.
I agree.
Like, that's insane.
I agree.
Continuing on, though, I lost my spot.
Broncos versus Browns. Speaking of Russell Wilson.
All right. Speaking about Russell Wilson, who did not have his best game this week.
No.
134 yards with 1 touchdown. They take down the Cleveland Browns 29-12.
Sean Payton's him. He's
just such a good coach.
Dude, he has pulled out and extracted everything that Russell Wilson has left at this point.
Shout out to him for leaving New Orleans because that was bad.
That was. And he knew kind of the situation they were in. He knew.
Well, he also kind of contributed.
Yeah, he did. I'm glad you said it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so here's what I'll say. Russ, is he prime Seattle Russ where we're thinking MVP conversation?
No.
Will he ever get to there? No.
Probably not.
Probably not. What I'll say is he can win games. And I still believe that if the Broncos want to ever reach the heights that Peyton wants, they're going to have to get off of this Russell Wilson contract, which, again, I'm not loving saying that, but you can't have the third highest paid player in league history be Russell Wilson.
Nope.
I'm sorry. But they're winning right now. They're on a 5-game winning streak. They deserve all the credit in the world. Honestly, they're a better team than Seattle right now. And it's one of those things that's come around. Luckily, we don't have their draft picks, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. But yeah, at this point, I'm happy for Denver. They've gone through a lot in terms of quarterbacks. We'll see what they do in the offseason. But Russ has done enough to where it's like, hey, I deserve to play in this league.
Absolutely. Moving on, the Los Angeles Rams 37 over the Arizona Cardinals 14. And I think this is Kyler's best game since returning.
Kyler, here's the thing. Kyler statistically wasn't even like that great. He was 27 to 45, 256 in the touchdown. He also added a touchdown on the ground. He, to me, is just making the case, hey, don't take Caleb. Don't take Drake May. Don't take, whomever.
Yeah.
And, I think Kyler deserves to be a starting QB in this league. I still think he's kind of in that same, like, you want to talk about top of tier 2. Again, how high you take tier 2, he's got to be in that discussion.
Yep.
I really want the Cardinals to get Marvin Harrison for his sake. The Cardinals are the Cardinals, so they're going to mess up things regardless. But if you want Kyler Murray to succeed, get him Marvin Harrison Jr. And let him do work. In terms of the Rams side, my God, here's the thing. I know we're supposed to be strictly football, but Brendan does fantasy talk all this time, so I'm going to do some fantasy talk right here. God, I miss Kyron Williams. My God, I miss Kyron Williams. 16 carries, 143 yards. He also caught 6 passes for 61 and 2 touchdowns. Man, oh man, have I missed Kyron Williams on my fantasy team. Didn't help me win this week, but either way, he was the number 1 running back in terms of PPR scoring. And he, to this offense, just adds another element that Stafford and McVay just truly
It opens up the offense for Stafford.
He does.
It really does. And you have a legitimate running threat.
Yeah.
Which literally changes a football game.
He's just, I don't know what it is, because he's not the most efficient runner, but when he just gets a little bit of a crease,
he's gone.
He's just a burst. And he got caught on a long run, which it's the first time I've seen him get caught this season. He's just a guy that's a difference maker in that offense, and he is going to be a factor for this Rams team. I hope for the foreseeable future, for their sake. But
averaging almost 10 yards a carry
in the NFL. Yeah, and the Cardinals defense isn't that great, and that's Arizona. So I don't want to hype it up too much.
Crazy in college.
This was the largest yards from scrimmage performance by any NFL player this season, in terms of a running back. Yeah, it's I love having Kyron Williams on my fantasy team. He might be the only thing.
Kyron Williams.
He might be the only thing saving me from maybe squeaking into playoffs. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, Rams should be happy that they got number 23 back.
Nice. All right, the Kansas City Chiefs bounce back after a loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, 31-17 over their division rival, the Las Vegas Raiders. Pat Mahomes had 298 for 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs, 20 carries for 110 yards and 1 touchdown. Rashee Rice. My fault.
Best
8 receptions for 107 yards and 1 touchdown. Does Pat Mahomes have a wide receiver 1 in Kansas City? No. But
he's a 2.
He's a solid 2.
I think.
But so. I think Pat just has a lot of solid 2s.
I know he has a 2 and then
3s
and then not 3s.
Then Kadarius Toney.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. You realize Justin Ross was on this team?
Yeah.
And then he just got cut.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. In terms of offensive weapons on the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm about to really shock you at this point. Patrick Mahomes, number 1.
Yep.
Isaiah Pacheco needs to be number 2.
Has to be.
Travis Kelce, I don't know if it's the knee injury that he suffered at the beginning of the season, or if it's his age, or Taylor Swift, or what it is. He is just not the same tight end caliber that we've known Travis Kelce to be. He's still, a number 1 tight end in the league and everything, and his gap from number 1 to number 2 is closed, but he's still number 1.
Yeah.
To me, this team is going to heavily rely on Isaiah Pacheco down the stretch of the season.
Yep.
And Pacheco's really rewarding him. I mean, it's not even that the Chiefs' run blocking is the greatest in the NFL. Pacheco just makes it work. He's one of the hardest runners I think I've ever seen with the way he just pumps his legs, and it's just incredible to watch. Raiders also, too, the fact that they're looking competitive, Pierce, just give him the job. Take the interim tag off.
Give it to him.
I agree. I think he's the guy moving forward for them.
I agree. Fully agree. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, probably the best game of the week. The Buffalo Bills 34, fall to the Philadelphia Eagles 37 in overtime. And Josh Allen has still not won an overtime game.
0-6 in his career now.
Crazy.
Yeah. Here's the thing when I say, all right, so Brendan has been on this kick. I have been just banging my head against the wall trying to argue with him about this, right? So he was saying for the longest time, Josh Allen needs to run. Look at all these other people saying Josh Allen needs to run. Josh Allen needs to take more initiative. I'm not just saying this because they lost 37-34. Because if they would have won, I'm still going to be saying what I'm saying now. Because Josh Allen on the ground, 9 carries for 81 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 339 through the air, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Yep. It's not the principle of having Josh Allen run that's such a bad negative thing, especially in a one-game sample. I get it. Allen should be the, what we assume Luka is for the Mavericks.
Yeah.
Just hyper, just does everything like force.
Yep.
Right? The thing with Josh Allen, though, that I've kind of preaching to Brendan is that you cannot be this heliocentric guy that everything has to rely on for you to succeed and expect to be the championship caliber team that you want to be. Look at Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts does what he needs to do. You want me to hand it off to DeAndre Swift? You want to make this run game work? Cool. You want to have a play where, 20 out of the 22 guys fall on me, right? And are like trying to, hurt me and, I'm getting punched in all different kinds of places. Sure, I'll do that. You want me to drop back and throw it to A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith? I got you.
Yep.
The Eagles, the way they've constructed their team is not so Jalen Hurts reliant. The way that the Chiefs right now utilizing Isaiah Pacheco is working for them. And I get that James Cook, again, he's no longer on my fantasy team, so Brendan can't accuse me of this. I know we're talking a lot of fantasy football today. James Cook is a very efficient runner. He had a drop in this game that unfortunately sucked.
Yeah.
He is the best running back that they have. And if you want to mix in Latavius Murray and Ty Johnson, by all means, please do. You've got to take the pressure off of Josh Allen because he cannot be your only, reliable source of offense on that side of the ball.
No one's saying Josh Allen can't run the ball. We're just saying he can't be your leading rusher game in and game out. Yeah. And your Jalen Hurts example is perfect. Jalen Hurts had 14 carries for 65 yards, but guess who had more? DeAndre Swift, the same amount of carries for 80 yards. It's just...
Here's the thing. I get it. If this is the Super Bowl, by all means, screw it. Let Josh Allen do
every single inch of your body for that game.
By all means. In a game in November in which you're on the road and you're freaking 34, they were up 3 scores at one point.
Yeah.
Just get the ball home. Yep. Just give it to James Cook. Give it to Latavius Murray. I don't care who it is. Just get. And again, if it's that point where they just simply do not trust their running backs to produce at the level, then obviously you need to invest in the running back position more clearly, or the offensive line, whatever it is. I'm so sick of this Buffalo Bills team failing below expectations because Josh Allen at his peak is one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the sport. Now, I got Hurts ahead of him.
Yeah.
Burrow, when he's healthy, I ahead of him.
Yep.
I got Lamar ahead of him right now.
Yep.
I mean, we could keep going, but like Allen to me, that's okay.
Right now.
Okay. That's
at this moment.
That's the inner cowboy coming out in you. We had a really good talk. I'm just going to ignore that.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. I did, somehow heard that.
Brendan, that's crazy.
I know.
Why would you ever say that?
I didn't realize John was on the podcast today.
That's funny.
Yeah. No, respect. Listen, the Bills Super Bowl window is closed until further notice.
Yeah. Please go to the next window. And then Sunday Night Football, the Baltimore Ravens 20, the Los Angeles Chargers 10. The Chargers, I will say this.
Okay.
The Chargers have the Patriots next week.
Mm-hmm.
If they lose to the Patriots, I think Brandon Staley needs to be left.
I said this last week that Staley should have been out. Before this, I said he should have been fired today.
Yeah, if they lose to the Patriots, that's it. Like there's no excuse to keeping him.
Lamar Jackson and the Ravens did what they needed to do to win. They just are going ugly. I think their ceiling now comes down without a Mark Andrews.
Yep.
And it's going to be really hard for them to compete with like the Chiefs and the top level guys in the AFC. Yeah. And it really sucks for them. But they ultimately got the job done on the road. Lamar
just perfect balance. Like it's just completely balanced football.
Which again, Keaton Mitchell, 9 carries for 64 yards. Again, not so Lamar-centric.
Lamar, 11 carries for 39.
Yeah.
But he was not the leading rusher.
Exactly. Justin Herbert. I don't know if you've been paying attention to social media recently, Andrew. If you just have any Justin Herbert thing come across your timeline, it's pretty much anything from, okay, Herbert's the Messiah. I can't believe the Chargers have done this badly by him. Brandon Staley's, the devil, all this stuff, to Justin Herbert's overrated. I can't believe anybody's ever thought as an elite quarterback. Like, there are very polarizing takes on Justin Herbert. And I try to be as about in the middle as I can with this guy. Because I do believe he's talented, and I think when at his peak, he could argue for top 5. Maybe not be top 5, but argue.
Yeah.
What I'll say is that Herbert, I've said it before in the season, I'll say it again. He's not the problem, but he's paid to be the solution.
Yep.
Herbert, at this point, and I get they don't have a deep over-the-threat, top receiver. Mike Williams is hurt. Joshua Palmer's hurt. Like, 2 of his 4 guys. Quentin Johnson, who, by the way, I said it, was not a first-round pick. And he has proven to be the biggest bust so far in the first round in terms of wide receivers. Herbert, you got to do more. You've got to just, I don't know what it is. You've got to find a way
to put up playing against Zay Flowers too,
dude. And it's Jordan Addison was also taken above them.
Yeah,
or after them. Excuse me. I'm sitting there saying the Chargers have to put up more than 10 points if Justin Herbert's your quarterback. I don't care, barring like some unforeseen circumstances that are just unfathomed.
Yeah,
I get it's the Baltimore defense. You got to do better than this. You do. And I want to defend Herbert, but I can't. I can't with performances like this. Like, what is 29 to 44, 217?
Bad.
1 touchdown, 1 pick. Like, again, he was their leading rusher.
Yep.
Again, we talked about with Josh Allen, but like, again, Eckler normally can at least do serviceable work rushing.
Yep.
Even though he's more of a pass catching back, but still.
Yep.
It's
just I feel bad for Justin, but also you need to do more.
Yep.
Speaking
of Justin, the Bears are taking on the Vikings Monday Night Football as we're recording this. They're currently up 6-3 on the Vikings.
Oh boy!
Towards the end of the third quarter,
Monday Night Football banger.
Yeah, we came down from our game last week, and this is looking real ugly. Because Fields, hey, listen, they're driving right now. 19 to 26, 141 yards. Fields also leads them in rushing. This would be a huge win for Justin if he can get this dub. But, Vikings, 4th down. Dobbs already has 2 picks on the night. It's rough.
Ouch.
NFC North low-key is also Big Ten vibes.
Yeah.
Little bit.
Yeah, just both the Norths.
Both the North, yeah.
Both the Norths.
Both the Norths.
For the North.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get past those mid-offs. We got a lot of mid-offs next week. Indianapolis, Tennessee, mid-off.
How are you going to skip the Thursday night matchup? Right?
Oh, sorry. I was talking about the mid-offs first.
Okay. Mid-offs, go ahead.
Indianapolis, Tennessee, mid-off.
Yep.
Los Angeles Chargers, New England Patriots, bad off. Detroit Lions, New Orleans. I think we know who should win that game.
Yep.
Atlanta Falcons, New York Jets, mid-off.
Zach Wilson versus Desmond Ritter.
Arizona Cardinals, Pittsburgh Steelers, mid-off. The Miami Dolphins, Washington Commanders, I think we know who should win that one.
Yep.
Houston and Denver, I think we know who should win that one, but that one won't be a given. That might be a pretty solid game.
Low-key game.
Very low-key game. Carolina, Tampa Bay, mid-off.
Yeah.
The Browns versus the Rams, mid-off. And I think the best game of next week, and if it's not America's game of the week, it absolutely should be, the San Francisco 49ers visit the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think this is the last chance the Cowboys have to have any sort of hope of winning the division.
So you're saying you're rooting for the San Francisco 49ers?
Unfortunately, I am.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, no, not unfortunately. Fuck Philadelphia. I'll root for anybody over Philadelphia.
There you go.
And then the Monday night game, the Kansas City Chiefs visit the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. And then finally, the Cincinnati Bengals visit the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday night with the Buffalo Bills, the Chicago Bears, Las Vegas Raiders, Minnesota Vikings, New York Giants, and the Baltimore Ravens all on a bye week. There's a lot of mid left in this week, not a lot of good. And then finally, we start the week off on Thursday night with the Seattle Seahawks visiting the Dallas Cowboys.
I'll be at that game.
Give me your Seattle-Dallas prediction.
Dallas wins. I'm going to say Dallas wins 31-17. I think in that 17 is being generous, so we might score like 10.
I'm going to say 35-13.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Witherspoon will have his hands full with CD, but it's going to be a really interesting matchup. It's Thursdays, can always be kind of weird.
They can be.
Micah, I think, will get after Geno, and it's going to be really tough.
I think it'd be weirder if the Cowboys weren't on a full week's rest, though.
Right. Well, so is Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah.
So it's a full week's rest for both of us.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I'll say Dallas will control what they need to control. They'll put points up, and I'm just, bleh. I'm so just, yeah. I hope I'm wrong, and that Geno has a world-class performance and we get a banger on Thursday Night Football. But yeah, I'm going to be wearing a Seattle jersey, probably in not so good of a mood, where my brother's going to be going crazy in AT&T Stadium.
Oh, man. It's going to be a lot of fun, though, man. It's going to be a good time. So
it will be.
Excited for y'all.
Thanks, man.
That'll be an exciting Thursday for y'all. And then finally, I want to know your San Francisco-Philadelphia prediction.
Here's the thing. I picked San Francisco to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. So for them,
this is the path to that.
Yeah, so I'm going to roll with the Niners. I do think the Eagles are playing the best at the moment, and I do like Hurts more than Purdy, but I think the Niners pass rush will give Philadelphia more problems than any other team has been able to.
Yeah.
And I trust that Brock Purdy against this really bad Philadelphia Eagles secondary, he's going to be able to produce. And I think, coming off the NFC Championship game, we saw this with the Super Bowl, right? The Eagles came out with a certain energy against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
I think the Niners are going to come out saying, hey, listen, we felt like if our quarterback was healthy, we would have made it a game, and we're going to make this one a game. Gosh dang it, the mic.
No touching mic.
I know. So I'm going to roll Niners to win 28-24 over the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm going to say 35-31 San Francisco Niners.
San Francisco. I like it. I'll break down. Here's the thing. So also, Niners, they've won the division at this point. I think that's kind of a given.
Yeah.
Dallas, man, I'm telling you, they are within a game of potentially.
Let's talk after this game.
Okay.
We'll talk after this game because this game will determine how much hope I have in Dallas winning the division.
That's fair.
Also, before we finish with the NFL, shout out Dak Prescott. Just found out he's going to be a girl dad.
Yep.
Going to have a baby girl.
Yep.
That's awesome. Eagles fans are shitty, and they've proven themselves to be shitty once again. But shout out Dak Prescott. That's exciting news. So we might see dad mode Dak soon, which might be good or awful. So
nice.
I know that man's going to keep fighting for checks if he's got a baby to support. So let's hope he's putting up his best football. Ladies and gentlemen, let's finish it off with this day in sports.
So quickly on the Twitter sphere, because we have this day in sports via Twitter. Pull this up real quick. On this day, I gotta say it louder, sorry. Excuse me, that was terrible. On this day, back in 1998, Texas's Ricky Williams breaks Tony Dorsett's 22-year-old NCAA Division 1A all-time rushing record with 6,082 yards with a 60-yard TD run against Texas A&M. Unranked Texas would upset number 6 A&M's 26-24. Williams finished the game with 272 yards rushing. Also,
legend.
Carmelo Anthony had his first 50-point game on this day in 2009.
Nice.
So shout out
That's
to
awesome.
Yeah.
On this day in 1966, in the highest scoring NFL game, the Washington Redskins defeated the New York Giants 72-41.
That's insane.
In an era of football where just offense was not a thing.
Or not to the level it is now.
Yeah. Is that still the highest? That's not the highest scoring game anymore. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking about the Monday night game.
Yeah, the Rams and the Chiefs. Yeah. It's up there.
Which is also one of my favorite games of all time.
100%.
That's just one of the greatest games ever played.
On this day in 2016, German Mercedes driver Nico Rosberg clinches his only F1 World Drivers' Championship with a victory in season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Wins title by 5 points from teammate Lewis Hamilton.
Wow.
On this day.
That's crazy. On this day in 2011, German Red Bull driver Sebastian Vettel finishes second in season-ending Brazilian Grand Prix at Autodromo José Carlos Pache to retain his F1 World Drivers' Championship. He won by 122 points from Jenson Button.
On this day in 2016, the Canadian Football League Grey Cup in Toronto as the Ottawa Red Blacks upset the heavily favored Calgary Stampeders 39-33 in overtime to win a championship in just their third season of existence.
Wow.
Hey, got to give Canadian football their love, you know?
Got to give the CFL their love. The Grey Cup, man.
Yep.
That's a cool name for a trophy, I guess.
Yeah. It's Canadian.
Yeah, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to episode 63. I am your host, Andrew, with my co-host, Colin Brown. And shout out to Brendan, who wasn't here this week, but I'm sure he'd be saying peace or whatever. No, that's Colin's line.
He'd probably be ragging about you about Oklahoma, so.
Probably, man, honestly. But ladies and gentlemen, listen to us on anywhere you get your podcast. Share with your family and friends. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And as always, remember the good times. We'll see you next week.
Peace.